Chapter 1887. The person behind me? Yang Hanwu smiled. There's no one behind me. As for whether I'm qualified or not, you'll know once you try. Do you know that you are provoking the Iron Mountain City? My master will not let you off, the Snake King said as he stared at Yang Hanwu. However, he was extremely anxious in his heart. He knew very well that Yang Hanwu did not come with good intentions. Moreover, the other party had already sealed the space. This clearly showed that they had come prepared. Most likely, that treasure had already been leaked. This was going to be troublesome. Your master? Yang Hanwu narrowed his eyes. This Snake King was afraid and was retreating in fear. This was his chance. You can choose to submit to me. Perhaps, you will still have a chance to live. Otherwise, you will only have death waiting for you. As for your master is the same. What arrogance! Since you want to die, I'll kill you first. Let's see if the person behind you will come out. The Snake King was infuriated. He was afraid of the person behind Yang Hanwu. As for Yang Hanwu, he didn't care about him at all. Yang Hanwu was just a divine emperor warrior, he didn't put him in his eyes at all. He could easily kill Yang Hanwu. At least, that was what the Snake King thought. A divine emperor warrior, no matter how talented he was, how powerful he was, how powerful he was, how powerful he was and how powerful his treasures were. In the end, it was hard to make up for the difference in his cultivation. The enraged Snake King moved its huge body. Its huge snake tail whipped towards Yang Hanwu in an instant. The tyrannical power instantly crushed the trees in front of it. If one was hit by this attack, one would definitely die. It was obvious how powerful the Snake King was. After all, it was a ruler-level Snake King. Naturally, its attacks were extremely powerful. Yang Hanwu didn't care at all. Yang Hanwu had already anticipated the Snake King's attack. Just as the Snake King was about to hit Yang Hanwu, he used a secret technique and directly left this space. The Snake King seemed to have hit him, but in reality, Yang Hanwu was in a different space. Its position was not in the same space-time as Snake King. This attack had no effect at all. It didn't even touch the corner of Yang Hanwu's clothes. Snake King's eyes widened when he saw that his attack had no effect on Lin Fan. He knew that he was in trouble. Lin Fan looked like a divine emperor, but Lin Fan's true strength was probably more terrifying than him. Otherwise, they wouldn't have the guts to provoke him. That was enough to prove that the other party was extremely frightening. The Tao of Space. No wonder you're so arrogant. You've actually comprehended the Tao of Space. However, so what if you've comprehended the Tao of Space? I'll definitely kill you. Snake King roared. His body grew even bigger than before. At this very moment, this Snake King was several hundred meters long. How terrifying was that? A giant snake opened its mouth and spat out a pitch-black energy ball. From this pitch-black energy ball, Yang Hanwu could feel a terrifying power. It was filled with corrosiveness. Wherever it went, space would collapse. What a tyrannical snake venom. Yang Hanwu knew that this was the Snake King's venom. This attack could even corrode space. He had to admit that this attack was extremely terrifying. At least, it was the most tyrannical attack that Yang Hanwu had ever seen. Yang Hanwu knew what Snake King was trying to do. It seemed like Snake King wanted to kill him, but in fact, Snake King's goal was to break the space and send a message to Tai Tulong. However, how could this be hidden from Yang Hanwu? What about Wu? Ha, you beast. You're pretty smart. But it's a pity. Although your venom is tyrannical and can corrode space, it's not that easy to break through my formation. If you're a few more realms stronger, you might reach the sovereign realm. You might be able to do it in the later stages, but it's impossible now. Yang Hanwu laughed heartily. He dodged the attack and allowed the snake venom to attack the formation. This isolation formation wasn't something that could be casually set up. Yang Hanwu had used the life seal and the scroll of fortune to set it up. Unless there was a coordinated attack from the outside, a mere sovereign realm expert wouldn't be able to break through this formation. Even a cultivator who had entered the Tao through formations wouldn't be able to do it. Damn it, damned human. How can he have such a powerful formation? Snake King saw that his plan had failed. His attack couldn't corrode the formation and break the space to send his message to Tai Tulong. This infuriated him. Human, are you determined to go against me? Do you know how powerful my master, Tai Tulong, is? If you regret it now, it's not too late. Otherwise, you'll die without a burial place. You can't even imagine how strong he is. Even the strongest person in the lands of Heavenspan, the sovereign Heavenspan, might not be able to defeat him. You're courting death, don't you know that? Yan Hongwu sneered. You're just a little worm. Although your master is a late-stage sovereign realm expert, he's still far from the Tongtian sovereign realm expert. How dare you be so arrogant? Hand it over and kill yourself. If you do, I'll give you a chance to reincarnate. Snake King actually dared to threaten him at a time like this. He really didn't know what was wrong with his brain. Did he think he was a fool? Kid, you deserve to die. Snake King was smart, but he had no other choice. He only had one chance, and that was to kill Yan Hongwu. This formation was so powerful, but as long as he killed Yan Hongwu, he would be able to break it. He would definitely be able to break it. Die for me. Snake King opened his mouth and spat out a ball of black light. This ball of black light instantly flew towards Yan Hongwu. To Yan Hongwu's surprise, this ball of black light instantly invaded his soul. Soul poison? Yan Hongwu was incomparably shocked. This was a soul poison, a cursed soul poison. The price to use the cursed soul poison was enormous. This cursed soul poison could ignore space and attack others. Yan Hongwu had not expected the Snake King to have such a trick up his sleeve. That was why he had fallen for it. Chapter 1888. What a joke. It's just a soul poison. How can it make me submit? The word surrender doesn't exist in my life. Yan Hongwu snorted coldly and circulated his cultivation technique. The Nine Heavens Divine Dragon technique was circulated to the extreme, and the karmic fire of the Red Lotus was also activated. He wanted to force the soul poison out of his body. The cursed soul poison was a type of curse. Although the curse technique was powerful, Yan Hongwu's Nine Heavens Divine Dragon technique and the karmic fire of the Red Lotus were the nemesis of the cursed soul poison. However, it wouldn't be able to remove the soul poison in a short period of time. It would be enough to remove the soul poison. Brat, you're courting death. You're dreaming if you want to live after being poisoned by my soul poison. Let me tell you, this soul poison is the most terrifying curse in the world. Other than me, no one can remove it. Not even my master can do it. So, if you surrender now, you'll still have a chance to live. But if you refuse, you'll definitely die. The Snake King laughed loudly. Is that so? You think too highly of yourself. Any curse or poison technique is useless in front of me. This cursed soul poison might bring me some trouble, but it's impossible to kill me. Yan Hongwu shouted softly. The power of the heavenly divine dragon technique completely erupted. His body emitted a domineering dragon aura, and he turned into a huge dragon. Dragons, little bastard. It's actually a dragon. Seeing Yan Hongwu turn into a divine dragon, the Snake King's eyes lit up. He stared at Yan Hongwu with greed in his eyes. Dragons. He didn't expect Yan Hongwu to have such a powerful dragon. The bloodline of the human race gave him a terrifying pressure that suppressed his strength. He couldn't use it at all. However, the Snake King wasn't worried. Instead, he was extremely excited. This was because he knew that Yan Hongwu had been poisoned by the soul poison and that only death awaited him. He didn't believe that anyone could cure the soul poison. Moreover, even if a Tao monarch who'd surpassed the ruler realm was able to cure the soul poison, it would consume a huge amount of energy. However, Yan Hongwu had clearly not reached that level. Therefore, it was impossible for him to get rid of the soul poison. Even if Yang Hanwu managed to get rid of the soul poison, it would consume a great deal of energy. When that time came, how would Yang Hanwu be able to contend against him? In this way, he would be able to devour his true dragon bloodline and allow his bloodline to undergo a perfect evolution. At that time, his cultivation and strength would advance by leaps and bounds. The Snake King understood himself very well. The reason why his cultivation was so difficult to improve was because his bloodline had been restricted. His cultivation level had reached the sovereign level, which was the limit. Therefore, unless he improved his bloodline, he would not be able to improve. Therefore, when Yang Hanwu revealed his dragon form, the Snake King wasn't afraid. Instead, he was unusually excited. To be able to suppress his strength so much, one could see how noble and pure the power of the other party's bloodline was. Yang Hanwu, who had transformed into a huge dragon, pounced on the Snake King. The huge dragon body released a majestic power. Coupled with the power of the formation, how explosive was it? With a claw, everything in front of him was destroyed in an instant. The Snake King's expression changed when he saw this. Yang Hanwu, who had transformed into a divine dragon, was too strong and domineering. If he couldn't resist, he would be in big trouble. However, he couldn't move aside. This was a big problem. However, he couldn't fight Yang Hanwu head-on. After all, he was a snake and Yang Hanwu was a dragon. The suppression of their bloodlines was too great. He was no match for Yang Hanwu at all. However, if he moved aside, the treasure would be attacked. If the restriction was broken, he would be in big trouble. At that time, his master, Tai Tulong, would definitely not let him go. This was what the Snake King was most worried about. He wasn't worried about Yang Hanwu. As long as he could buy time, it would be enough. Once the soul poison took effect, Yang Hanwu would definitely die. But the problem now was that Yang Hanwu wouldn't give him the chance to buy time. Would Yang Hanwu let him go? If he didn't move aside, it would be difficult for him to resist. Damn it! At this moment, Snake King was caught in a dilemma. However, Yang Hanwu didn't give him a choice. After a round of attacks, Yang Hanwu transformed back into his human form. He clenched his battle saber and a cold light burst out from his eyes. Divine Dragon breaks the sky. Previously, Yang Hanwu had transformed into his dragon form and sent the Snake King flying. After that, he transformed into his human form. He poured his magic power into his saber and slashed out. The saber light soared into the sky and turned into a giant dragon. It pounced on the Snake King again. Damn it! The Snake King was sent flying once. Facing Yang Hanwu's second attack, he was infuriated. He was actually being suppressed by a kid who had been poisoned. Even though his strength was being suppressed, it was still too sullen. As Tai Tulong's battle pet and a sovereign realm expert, he had always been high and mighty. When had he ever been in such a sorry state? But there was nothing he could do. Yang Hanwu's attack sent the Snake King flying again. He felt immense pressure. There was a terrifying power brewing in this space. It was the power of Yang Hanwu's formation. It was very strong. Even though he was a sovereign realm expert, the power was even more terrifying. Destruction Heaven Palace, suppress. Yang Hanwu's thoughts moved. After the Snake King was sent flying, a huge palace flew out. It was the Destruction Heaven Palace. It instantly enveloped the Snake King's head, making it impossible for him to escape. At this moment, the Snake King was being suppressed by the massive palace. Then, Yang Hanwu activated the devouring furnace. At the same time, a ball of fire flew out from Yang Hanwu's body. The entire space turned into a sea of fire. It was the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. Damn it, how can this be? Is this the karmic fire of the Red Lotus? If he had been at his peak, he would have been able to resist the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. But now, his strength was suppressed and he was injured. There was no way he could resist the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. The Snake King let out a miserable cry. At this time, Yang Hanwu didn't stop. the Snake King was a sovereign realm expert. How could he die so easily? To be sure, Yang Hanwu used the yin-yang curse. Soul lock curse, a soul attack. While the Snake King was trying his best to resist the karmic fire of the Red Lotus and the devouring furnace, his soul suffered a great blow. In an instant, his soul collapsed. The sovereign realm Snake King was instantly killed by Yang Hanwu. He couldn't be more dead. Chapter 1889. I'd like to see what exactly this thing is that Tai Tulong values it so much. From the outside, Yang Hanwu could not see what exactly this thing that was nurtured by the spirit vein was. However, it was definitely extraordinary. As for the Snake King, it was refined into a divine origin pill by Yang Hanwu. When Yang Hanwu opened the restriction, he saw an altar in the middle of the hall. The altar sat on top of the spirit vein, and spiritual energy was frantically pouring into the altar. Is this thing an altar? Yang Hanwu was extremely curious. He hadn't expected the thing that was frantically devouring spiritual energy to be such an altar. Could it be that there was something special about this altar? Yang Hanwu couldn't see what was so special about this altar that Tai Tulong valued it so much. No, could this be the legendary mortal life altar? Yang Hanwu took a deep breath as he recalled something. It was rumored that other than the 8 great divine talismans, there was another incomparably powerful treasure that was ejected from the Fortune Heavenly Gate. This treasure was an altar. This altar was the legendary mortal altar, and any living being would be able to reap the benefits of its life. All of them could use this altar, and through offering sacrifices, they could obtain supreme power. How could an altar that Tai Tulong placed so much importance on be simple? Therefore, Yang Hanwu guessed that this altar was very likely the legendary mortal life altar. Once one obtained the real mortal life altar, one could obtain power or treasures of equivalent value by sacrificing anything. The more precious the sacrifice, the better the treasures one would obtain. It was rumored that during the primordial era, a supreme expert had obtained the altar of the common life, and turned from a piece of trash with no cultivation base and extremely poor aptitude into a supreme expert. Yang Hanwu didn't know the extent of that expert's strength. Perhaps it was just a legend, but Yang Hanwu had no more doubts after seeing this altar. Regardless of whether this was the real mortal life altar or not, one thing was certain. This altar was definitely related to the mortal life altar. Come here. Yang Hanwu reached out and grabbed the altar. Whether it was the mortal life altar or not, he had to obtain this treasure. It was a pity that he couldn't accelerate the ripening of the chaotic starflower. Yang Hanwu's magic power was very powerful, but what made him disappointed was that this altar was erupting with a powerful force. He simply couldn't grab it. The resistance of this altar was too strong. Not only did Yang Hanwu fail to obtain the altar, but he also suffered a backlash. His body was sent flying, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He stared fixedly at the altar. He was getting more and more excited. This altar was really something. He couldn't take it. I don't believe that I can't subdue a mere altar. Yang Hanwu walked towards the altar once more, circulating the 9 heavens divine dragon art to its maximum. He had already collected the world seed. That was a supreme treasure of the divine flame mountain. Could it be that he could not collect this altar in the myriad dragon mountain? Yang Hanwu didn't believe that. No matter how strong this altar was, it was just an incomplete altar. If it was a complete mortal life altar, he might not be able to subdue it. However, this altar was incomplete, just like the immortal god talisman and the mortal life great seal. Back then, if he had found the complete life seal, he would not have been able to subdue it and make it recognize him as its master. It was the same for the immortal god talisman. He had only obtained a part of the immortal god talisman, the immortal god tablet. Only then could he refine it. The altar in front of him was a powerful treasure. If it had been a complete treasure, he would not have been able to refine it and make it recognize him as its master. However, since it was an incomplete altar, there was still a way for him to obtain it. It was just that he would have to spend a lot of effort. It was just a small price. Yang Hanwu actually wanted to give this altar to his son, Yang Tianjun. However, after thinking about it, he gave up the idea. This treasure was too precious, and it was incomplete. He didn't know how much it would cost to complete it. Moreover, if news of this supreme treasure leaked out, it would attract the attention of countless experts. Perhaps even the Lord of the Self-Defense Divine Palace, would covet it. Therefore, it wasn't suitable to give it to Yang Tianjun. His cultivation wasn't high enough. If he was targeted by others, he wouldn't be able to survive. It was more suitable for him to keep it. He would give it to his son, Yang Tianjun, when he found a suitable treasure in the future. Yang Hanwu felt ashamed facing Yang Tianjun. As a father, he didn't fulfill his responsibilities as a father. He didn't help Yang Tianjun at all. Although he didn't know it, Yang Hanwu still blamed himself. Moral Life Great Seal, suppress. Yang Hanwu had failed several times, and he frowned. If that was the case, he had no choice but to use some other method. Thus, Yang Hanwu took out the Moral Life Grand Seal. The Moral Life Grand Seal and the Moral Life Sacrificial Altar both had the word mortal in their names. They seemed to come from the same source. However, the current Moral Life Seal was extremely powerful. It seemed to be even stronger than the Moral Life Altar. In addition to the power of the formation in his own strength, it was still possible for this supreme treasure to suppress it. Come here. Yang Hongwu's brow was covered in sweat. His mental energy had been greatly consumed. This was truly worthy of being the Moral Life Altar. It was so powerful. Even if he used the power of the Moral Life Seal and borrowed the suppression of the formation, it was only with great difficulty that he managed to store the Moral Life Altar into his divine manner. Inside. However, it wasn't easy to refine the Moral Life Altar. Yang Hanwu needed the power of the Moral Life Great Seal and the Scroll of Fortune to suppress it. Yang Hanwu was helpless. Yang Hanwu understood why Tai Tulong wanted to use the spirit vein to nourish the Moral Life Altar. One was to restore the Moral Life Altar, and the other was to slowly subdue and refine this altar. The spirit vein was actually the energy source of the formation and restriction. It wasn't only used to refine the altar, but also to seal off this space to prevent outsiders from finding out. Chapter 1890. How to deal with the problem brought about by the altar of the common life was also a huge problem. After all, if he couldn't spare all his strength, he wouldn't be able to deal with Tai Tulong. This was the key. If he couldn't deal with Tai Tulong, not only would he not be able to seize Iron Mountain City, but he would also be in great danger, possibly leading to his death. Alright, you can come in now. Yang Hanwu walked out. At this moment, the formation that Tai Tulong had set up had already disappeared. Anya Shen and the others could naturally see it. Pan and I and the others hurried in after receiving Yang Hongwu's message. They looked at Yang Hanwu and asked, "What a terrifying Snake King. Are you alright?" It was obvious that they were very worried about Yang Hanwu. "I'm fine. It's just a small snake. Killing it is as easy as flipping my hand." Yang Hanwu threw out a pill. It was the Origin Divine Pill. He had given it to Yang Tianjun. "Take this pill. It's good for you. It's good for you." It was another Origin Divine Pill. Although Yang Tianjun hadn't fully recovered, the Origin Divine Pills that Yang Hanwu had given him had helped him recover a lot. His cultivation was now at the peak of the Divine Emperor realm. However, because his bloodline had been extracted, it would take some time for him to recover. More importantly, without his bloodline recovered, it would be very difficult for him to cultivate. It would be much more difficult for him to improve, and the speed of his cultivation would be much slower. "I'm going to try to hasten the ripening of this Chaos Star Flower," Yang Hanwu said. "We don't have much time, so we have to do it quickly." "With this spirit vein?" Pan and I said. "It will take a long time to really hasten the ripening. It's impossible to do it without a year or so. We don't have that much time." It was true. How could it be so easy to hasten the ripening of a supreme divine herb? There was no way around it if there wasn't enough time. Generally speaking, it would take at least a few decades, 100 years, or even a few thousand years to ripen a supreme divine herb. This was very normal. Don't worry. I'm confident. Yang Hanwu said, you all have a good rest first. I've already set up a formation here. People from the outside won't be able to discover it. Moreover, even if they discover it, it won't be easy to come in. Even if Tai Tulong comes, he'll need at least a day or two to break into my formation. This was Yang Hongwu's confidence. The array he set up was not that simple. Even though Tai Tulong's cultivation base was strong and he might even be a powerful array master, Yang Hanwu didn't think that there was anyone in the Tongtian continent who could compare with him in terms of attainments in array formations. If it wasn't for the fact that he had to expend energy to suppress the altar of the common life, the formation he had set up would be even more powerful. After explaining everything, Yang Hanwu took out the Chaos Star Flower. It would take a very long time to mature the Chaos Star Flower just by relying on this spirit vein. However, Yang Hanwu had a treasure that would allow Yang Hanwu to mature the Chaos Star in the shortest time possible. The Chaos Star Flower would mature. This was the Creation Chi. The Creation Chi was of a higher level than the power of chaos and the power of the stars. If it weren't for the fact that the Creation Chi extracted from the Creation Sacred Tree was very scarce, Yang Hanwu wouldn't have needed this spirit vein to mature the Chaos Star Flower. Yang Hanwu set up a spirit gathering array on top of the array formation that Tai Tulong had set up. Then, he infused the Creation Chi into the Chaotic Star Flower. That wasn't all. Yang Hanwu had also set up a Chaos Star Array. This Chaos Star Array wasn't used for battle. Instead, it was used to draw in Chaos Chi and Star Power into the array formation and fuse with the Chaos Star Flower. This was to allow the Chaos Star Flower to mature. Pan and I and the others were stunned when they saw what Yang Hanwu had done. The moment the formation was activated, boundless spirit chi frantically poured into the Chaos Star Flower. Furthermore, the entire formation also drew on the power of chaos and the power of the stars. Yang Hanwu had saved some time to deal with the situation at the altar of the common life. Refine. With a thought, Yang Hanwu's powerful consciousness entered the altar of the common life. He wanted to refine the altar. Yang Hanwu frowned. The resistance of the altar was so strong that Yang Hanwu frowned. Damn it, this altar isn't that easy to refine. This gave Yang Hanwu a headache, but he had no choice. He had to refine the altar of the common life in the shortest time possible. He still had a world seed in his hand that he hadn't completely refined, but he'd already integrated it into the common life great world. With a thought, Yang Hanwu thought that perhaps this altar could also be integrated into the common life great world. Although the altar of the common life hadn't been refined, it had been suppressed. Therefore, Yang Hanwu could easily bring the altar of the common life into the common life great world. After entering the common life great world, Yang Hanwu could borrow the power of the entire common life great world to refine the altar of the common life. This would be much easier. Power of the common life, refine for me. Yang Hanwu roared, and the power of the world and the common life great world was mobilized, forming a huge furnace. This furnace was crazily burning the altar of the common life. However, the power of this altar of the common life was too strong. Its power level wasn't any weaker than the common life great world. Not yielding? A cold light flashed in Yang Hongwu's eyes. If he couldn't refine it, couldn't subdue it, then he wouldn't hesitate to destroy it. If he could completely shatter this altar of the common life, refine its source and integrate it into the common life great world, then perhaps the common life great world would rise to another level, and the great seal of the common life would be upgraded. Sensing Yang Hongwu's intention to destroy the altar of the common life, the altar of the common life trembled, as if it knew what Yang Hanwu was thinking. In truth, the altar of the common life wasn't a complete altar of the common life. It didn't have a weapon spirit, but it still had a part of its consciousness that could sense Yang Hongwu's thoughts. This scene was seen by Yang Hanwu. Good fellow, it seems like you still have a bit of consciousness. If you don't yield, then I'll destroy you completely. Don't think that I can't do it. Yang Hanwu was overjoyed. As long as the altar of the common life had a bit of consciousness, then it couldn't be better. If he wanted to refine it, he would have a greater chance of success. The altar of the common life trembled for a moment before it finally regained its calm. Chapter 1891. What surprised Yang Hanwu was that the moral life altar was really related to the great moral life seal. The two of them came from the same source. Furthermore, Yang Hanwu had also obtained some information about the creation heavenly gate. Inside the creation heavenly gate was a boundless multiverse. The so-called multiverse was a cosmic space formed by many multiverses. It was vast and boundless. The fortune gate was actually equivalent to a spatial passageway. In other words, it was the gate of the universe. This gate connected the multiverse on this side and the multiverse on the other side of the fortune gate. Yang Hanwu wasn't certain about this information, but it was enough to shock Yang Hanwu. Yang Hanwu had heard of the concept of the multiverse before he had transmigrated. However, he had never heard of this information after transmigrating. Perhaps only Tao Lord powerhouses would know about it. Someone at GG's level should know a little about it. However, in any case, this wasn't the time to think about it. After all, Yang Hanwu's cultivation base was far from that level. Right now, the most important thing for Yang Hanwu was to find a way to leave this place and return to the deity realm. However, this would take some time. As for the immediate goal, it was to let his son, Yang Tianjun, cultivate the chaotic star body first. After Yang Hanwu truly refined the moral life altar, he opened his eyes. At this moment, the chaotic star flower had completely absorbed the spirit vein of the entire myriad dragon mountain. This surprised Yang Hanwu. Anya Shenv, Pan and I, and Yang Tianjun took advantage of this opportunity to absorb a lot of spirit qi. Pan and I and Anya Shenv, in particular, had experienced a significant increase in their strength. Although they hadn't broken through yet, there were faint signs of a breakthrough. This was due to the fortune qi that he had fused into the array formation, as well as the power of the stars and the power of the primal chaos. These three powers were ancient and powerful. Under normal circumstances, the three of them wouldn't have been able to refine them at all. This was because these powers were too domineering. This was especially true for the fortune qi, which was an extremely ancient and powerful origin source power. If one's physical body wasn't strong enough, it wouldn't have been able to withstand these powers. Damn it! The Chaos Star Flower is still a bit off. Yang Hanwu stared at the Chaos Star Flower before him. It was only a little bit away from fully maturing, but Yang Hanwu frowned. Yang Hanwu sensed Tai Tulong's aura outside. Tai Tulong's aura had appeared outside the myriad dragon mountains. This meant that Tai Tulong was on his way here and would arrive soon. It seemed like Tai Tulong had already suspected something, or perhaps he already knew about this place. What had happened was, the situation was urgent. They had to leave this place first. However, the chaotic star flower was still a little bit away from fully maturing. This made Yang Hanwu very angry. "Father, what is it?" Yang Tianjun could not help but ask when he saw Yang Hanwu's ugly expression. The Chaos Star Flower only needs a little more time. Half a day at most, and it will be fully ripe. There's not enough time. Yang Hanwu shook his head. Tai Tulong is on his way. Husband, didn't you say that this formation can stop him? Pan and I asked. It can. If that's the case, I'm afraid we won't be able to seize Iron Mountain City. Besides what? Anya Shenv looked at Yang Hanwu. Young master, is there a problem? Yang Hanwu sighed and said, I have an ominous premonition. Ominous premonition? Pan and I was stunned. Husband, why don't you tell us? We can think of a solution together. If it really doesn't work, we can just leave. That's right, father. It doesn't matter if the Chaos Star Flower isn't fully matured. As for Iron Mountain City, we don't have to take it, Yang Tianjun said. Although he really wanted to obtain the complete chaotic star body, he could delay it if it really didn't work. As for the position of City Lord of Iron Mountain City, he had never thought of it. It was only because Yang Hanwu had said that he was confident he could take Iron Mountain City that he had thought about it. In fact, if he could obtain Iron Mountain City, it would be a great benefit. However, if he couldn't obtain it, he wouldn't lose anything. After all, Iron Mountain City wasn't his to begin with. No, it's not a problem with the Skyspan continent, Yang Hanwu said. It's not the Skyspan continent? Anya Shen frowned. Could it be a problem with the Dark Night continent? Yang Hanwu smiled bitterly and shook his head. No, the Dark Night continent is nothing to me. Even if the entire Dark Night continent is destroyed, it won't cause any loss to me. Yang Hanwu was telling the truth. Back then, he had entered the Dark Night continent by accident. Therefore, he didn't really care about the Dark Night continent. It could be said that Yang Hanwu cared about the Dark Night continent the most. It was Anya Shenv. Now, Anya Shenv was by his side. Therefore, Anya Shenv didn't need to worry. Is it the Divine Realm? Pan and I asked. What's the problem with the common people's great world? If it wasn't the Skyspan continent or the Dark Night continent, then it could only be the Divine Realm. Pan and I had some understanding of the Divine Realm. As for the common people's Divine Realm, Pan and I already knew about it. After all, Yang Hanwu had already obtained the common people's Great Seal. Although he hadn't really collected it completely, the common people's Divine Realm was within the Great Seal. Therefore, the common people's great world contained that part of the common people's Divine Realm. It's not the common people's great world. Right now, the common people's great world is very safe. As long as nothing happens to me, the common people's great world will be fine. Yang Hanwu said. He shook his head. It's the Divine Realm. I feel that something bad is about to happen. One of us is in danger. Therefore, I have to find a way to rush back. A way to return to the Divine Realm? Pan and I frowned. I'm afraid it's very difficult. Unless we can find something in the Skyspan continent. Chapter 1892. The Planar Vessel? Yang Hanwu narrowed his eyes. If that was the case, he would really have to find the planar vessel. Although he had the void travel technique, it wasn't easy for him to travel between planes and return to the Divine Dominion. This was a huge problem. If it really exists, I must get it. Yang Hongwu's eyes flashed with a cold light. The test to enter the next temple is not important. However, I must get my hands on this planar boat. Anyone who dares to touch it will be my enemy. Husband, we will definitely help you, said Pan and I. Father, where's the Divine Dominion? Asked Yang Tianjun. Is it that important? Tianjun, you are my son. You should be cultivating by my side, but it's too dangerous. Yang Hanwu sighed. To be honest, I didn't fulfill my responsibility as a father. Husband, you don't have to be like this. It's not your fault. Pan and I hurriedly said. It's my fault. If it weren't for me, Junior wouldn't have ended up like this. His bloodline wouldn't have been taken away. Pan and I blamed herself. Father, Mother doesn't blame you. Yang Tianjun said. It's all my fault. If I hadn't been so arrogant, Mother wouldn't have been implicated by me. Now's not the time to talk about this. Sir, don't you want to leave? The most important thing now is Tai Tulong, said Anya Shenv. Yes. Yang Hanwu nodded. Although he had subdued the mortal life altar, leaving was a problem because the Chaos Star flower hadn't matured yet. However, Yang Hanwu suddenly thought of something. Perhaps he could give it a try. The mortal life altar. You guys, make way. Yang Hanwu sacrificed a few treasures to connect with the mortal life altar. Although the 3 treasures weren't supreme treasures, they were close to the limit. These treasures weren't of much use to Yang Hanwu. He wanted to test the limit and see if it would work. When Yang Hanwu communicated with the altar, the treasure was sacrificed. Subsequently, something that caused Yang Hanwu to be shocked occurred. Chaotic life soil. It really was chaotic life soil. This was exactly what he wanted by sacrificing his treasures. Although it was only a little, it was enough. With this mixed life soil, it would be enough for the chaos star flower to mature. What is this? Seeing the small ball in Yang Hongwu's hand, everyone was surprised. What a dense primal chaos aura. Living soil? Pan and I opened her eyes wide. She had seen the soil of life before. However, she had never seen the chaotic soil of life before. Back then, she had seen the 9 heaven soil of life in the desolate continent. It was something that Nuwa had used to create humans. However, the living soil was clearly inferior to this lump of living soil. Yes, this is chaotic life soil. Yang Hongwu said, this small clump of breathing soil should be enough to make this chaos star flower mature. Isn't this a little too wasteful? Asked Pan and I. That's right, Father. Using this chaotic life soil to mature this chaos star flower that's about to mature is really too wasteful. Why don't you keep this chaotic life soil first? As for the chaos star flower, you can nurture it for a period of time. Yang Tianjun also said. I don't have time. I don't have that much time. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, Tianjun, I'm not a good father. I don't have that much time to help you cultivate. With that, Yang Hongwu directly threw the clump of living soil into the chaos star flower. In an instant, the chaos star flower shone brightly as boundless spiritual energy poured into the flower. At this moment, the chaos star flower was about to mature. After a few breaths, a strange fragrance wafted out. The chaos star flower had matured. With a thought, Yang Hongwu grabbed the chaos star flower and slapped it with his hand, sending it into Yang Tianjun's body. Tianjun, you stay here and cultivate. Refine your sacred body. Pan and I, you two protect Tianjun. I'll deal with Tai Tulong, Yang Hongwu said to Pan and I and Anya Shenv. I'll go help you, said Anya Shenv. I can help you. Yang Hongwu shook his head. He knew what Anya Shenv was talking about. That was Anya Shenv's trump card. Although it was powerful, it wasn't much of a threat to Tai Tulong. It's useless. That thing isn't much of a threat to Tai Tulong. You two should stay in this formation. Don't worry, I have a plan. Tai Tulong is very strong, but I've never fought a battle that I'm not confident in winning. I understand. As he spoke, Yang Hongwu's thoughts stirred, and he disappeared on the spot. After leaving Myriad Dragon Mountain, Yang Hongwu connected to the Moral Life Altar. The Moral Life Altar could be used to obtain many treasures, secret techniques, treasures, etc. Everything could be obtained through the Moral Life Altar. However, it wasn't that easy. The better the treasures one obtained, the more sacrifices one had to make. It wasn't equivalent. The items one obtained were equivalent to 1/10 of the treasures sacrificed. For example, Yang Hongwu had sacrificed 3 supreme treasures to obtain a clump of chaotic soil of life. That clump of chaotic soil of life was only the size of a finger. It was only a small clump because the chaos star flower was only a little bit off. Only when it matured would it be enough. Seeing Tai Tulong rushing over, Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. It wouldn't be easy to deal with Tai Tulong. He had to think of a way. The best way was to drive the tiger to devour the wolf. Yang Hongwu knew from the Snake King that Tai Tulong had a nemesis. His nemesis was the old ancestor of Shanghai City. Back then, Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue, the old ancestor of Shanghai City, had come to Tongtian continent together. The two of them had entered a secret realm, where Shanhai Guanyue had discovered a stalk of a supreme divine herb. Just as he was about to obtain it, he was stopped. Just as he was about to take it away, Tai Tulong had schemed against him and snatched it away. From then on, Tai Tulong and Shanhai Guanyue had become enemies. If Tai Tulong didn't have a powerful battle pet like the Snake King, Shanhai Guanyue would have sought revenge. Shanhai Guanyue's strength was actually on par with Tai Tulong's. Unfortunately, Tai Tulong had a powerful battle pet like the Snake King. Their combined strength wasn't as simple as 1+1. Shanhai Guanyue wasn't a match at all. If Shanhai Guanyue knew that he had killed the Snake King battle pet, he wouldn't let go of such an opportunity. Chapter 1893. Who are you? How dare you block my path? Tai Tulong shouted when he sensed that someone was blocking his path. A powerful aura erupted from his body. Yang Hongwu's figure appeared. He looked at the other party and said, Iron Mountain City's old ancestor, Tai Tulong? Who are you? Since you know who I am, why don't you get out of my way? Tai Tulong did not want to waste any time here. His mood was unsettled, which meant that something bad had happened. It was just like when Tai Meng had been killed. This time, what he was most worried about was the item in the 10,000 Dragon Mountain. He had paid a huge price to suppress it. If the item that he wanted to subdue was taken away by someone, the loss would be too great. Compared to that, the entire Iron Mountain City was not that important. If Iron Mountain City was gone, he could spend some money to rebuild it. However, that item was related to his future. It was related to whether he could break through the bottleneck and enter a new realm. Therefore, that item was especially important to him. If that was not the case, he would not have spent so much effort to set up a formation and let Snake King guard it. However, he had no way of contacting Snake King. This was what worried him the most. If that was not the case, he would not be in such a hurry to rush to Myriad Dragon Mountain. Now, a stranger was blocking his path. It was very strange. Moreover, the other party's cultivation was only at the Divine Emperor realm. A mere Divine Emperor realm cultivator dared to block his path. This showed how bold he was. There was a strange feeling in the air. Get out of my way. Yang Hanwu smiled. Tai Tulong, you want to go to Myriad Dragon Mountain? If you don't get out of my way, don't blame me for being impolite. Tai Tulong was anxious and did not want to waste any more time. He reached out his hand and tried to grab Yang Hanwu. In his mind, Yang Hanwu was just a Divine Emperor warrior, while he was a Divine Emperor. He could easily take him down with a single grab. As expected of a late-stage Sovereign Realm expert. Your strength is terrifying. Yang Hanwu said. He activated the Void Traversal technique and dodged Tai Tulong's grab. Tai Tulong's face darkened when he realized that Yi Shiwen had dodged his attack. He was a Sovereign Realm expert, but he was unable to take down a mere Divine Emperor. What a brat! You can actually dodge my attack. Your strength is not weak, and your talent is astonishing. You are the most outstanding genius I have ever seen. Brat, if you are willing to take me as your master, I can let you go. Seeing Yang Hongwu's outstanding performance, Tai Tulong revealed a look of surprise. He was fond of talents. He could see that the reason Yang Hongwu was able to dodge his attack was not by chance. It was because this kid had comprehended the Tao of space. Such people were very rare, especially when the other party's cultivation was so weak. This was even more unusual. If he could take him in as a disciple, then the luck of Iron Mountain City would increase greatly, which would be of great benefit to him. This was why some experts would recruit extremely talented disciples. Firstly, it was because they could leave behind an inheritance for themselves. Secondly, it was because they could obtain luck. Although luck was illusory, it truly existed. Take you as my master? Yang Hongwu smiled. If you knew what I had done, you would probably hate me to the core. Could it be that you killed Tai Meng? Tai Tulong's expression changed when he heard Yang Hongwu's words. He stared at Yang Hongwu and said, Brat, how dare you? That's right. I killed him. Yang Hongwu said. Not only did I kill Tai Meng, but I also want to kill you. As he spoke, Yang Hongwu did not conceal his killing intent at all. What a joke. Brat, although your talent is not bad, you're still only a godly emperor. You say you killed Tai Meng, but I don't believe that. Your cultivation is too weak. Even if you used a sneak attack, you couldn't have killed Tai Meng. Tai Tulong still didn't believe it. After all, Yang Hongwu's cultivation was too weak. How could a godly emperor kill a peak emperor? After all, although Tai Meng was only a peak emperor, he could mobilize the power of Iron Mountain City. He was definitely comparable to a ruler. In fact, ordinary rulers definitely wouldn't be able to kill him, let alone kill him without giving him a chance to send a message. However, there was one thing that was certain. Even if this brat didn't kill Tai Meng's death was inextricably linked to him. Perhaps the person behind this brat had colluded with Tai Xiaoyao. If that was the case, then there was a possibility that he had killed Tai Meng. After all, Tai Xiaoyao was Tai Meng's son. With his help, Tai Meng would have been able to silently enter Iron Mountain City. Only with Tai Xiaoyao's help would Tai Meng be able to kill him without being able to resist at all. Brat, it doesn't matter if it's you or not. Today, you'll have to pay the price. Unless you're willing to become my disciple, you'll die. Tai Tulong no longer concealed the baleful aura in his eyes. He guessed that this brat was here to stall for time. His purpose here was to stall for time. His opponent definitely wanted to stop him and buy time for his companions. At this moment, Yang Hanwu sensed that his aura had been locked onto by Tai Tulong. Tai Tulong wanted to kill him. If he didn't agree to Tai Tulong's request, Tai Tulong would kill him. "You're not qualified to become my disciple," said Yang Hanwu with a laugh. "You probably want to go to the Myriad Dragon Mountains to see that little snake of yours, right? If that's the case, then there's no need to go. I've already killed that little snake. Perhaps what you care about the most is the spirit vein. That treasure that's being nurtured there? I have to admit that it's truly a supreme treasure. It's filled with mysterious power. If you can obtain it, perhaps it can help you break through your current bottleneck. Unfortunately, it's mine now." After saying that, Yang Hanwu waved his hand. A huge formation instantly enveloped an area of 100 zhang. The surrounding space was completely sealed. A formation. Tai Tulong's expression changed. He was a sovereign realm expert. The instant Yang Hanwu's formation appeared, he sensed it. Once it appeared, the surrounding space was sealed. Moreover, this formation was filled with killing intent. It was a terrifying killing intent. This killing intent made him feel fear. This wasn't an ordinary formation. It surpassed any formation he had ever seen. "Who are you?" Tai Tulong forcefully suppressed the anger in his heart. He didn't dare to act rashly. Now that the space was sealed, the pressure from this formation was too great. He didn't dare to take any risks. He didn't know the origin of this person. Chapter 1894. A dead man doesn't need to know my name. Yang Hanwu said in a domineering manner. What arrogance! Tai Tulong was furious. How dare he speak to him in such a manner? Tai Tulong was trembling with anger. "If you don't speak, you'll die." Tai Tulong's name wasn't a joke. He grabbed a giant axe in his hand. This was his weapon, a supreme treasure called the dragon-slaying axe. Countless experts had died under the dragon-slaying axe. Back then, Iron Mountain City was built by him. If it wasn't for this dragon-slaying axe, Iron Mountain City would have been destroyed long ago. This dragon-slaying axe had killed more than one sovereign realm true dragon. From this, one could see how terrifying this dragon-slaying axe was. Dragon-slaying axe, kill. His anger was futile. He had used almost 80% of his strength in this strike. This strike was not a test, but a real attempt to kill Yang Hanwu. Of course, the most important thing was to lure out the person behind Yang Hanwu. If the person behind him did not appear, then, if the person behind him didn't show up, he would kill Yang Hanwu. At least, in his opinion, Yang Hanwu wasn't alone. There must be an expert behind him. Otherwise, how could he have the guts to provoke him with his Divine Emperor realm cultivation? As for whether or not Yang Hanwu was concealing his cultivation, Tai Tulong was able to tell for sure. What a domineering axe. Dragon-slaying axe. You want to slay a dragon? You must be dreaming. Yang Hanwu was somewhat annoyed. It was one thing for this fella to be called Tai Tulong, but to think that he would have an axe that was also called the dragon-slaying axe. This was taboo. One should know that his cultivation technique was the Nine Heavens Divine Dragon technique. He could already transform into a divine dragon. In other words, he was a true dragon. Tai Tulong was courting death if he wanted to kill him. For this reason alone, Tai Tulong had to die. Yang Hanwu shouted and cast out the life seal. Great Seal of Life, Life Strike. The entire common life Great Seal seemed to have become a huge mountain, filled with the power to destroy the earth. For this strike, Yang Hanwu had mobilized the source power of the common life Great World. In addition to the power of the formation, there was also the common life sacrificial altar within the common life Great Seal. Although Yang Hanwu had not sacrificed anything, as the master of the common life sacrificial altar, he could still mobilize a portion of its power. After all, the common life sacrificial altar was a treasure of the same level as the common life Great Seal. Coming out was just as frightening. The huge seal instantly collided with the dragon-slaying axe. At this moment, two terrifying forces erupted. It was as if a monstrous wave had erupted in the mortal world. Everywhere it went, everything was destroyed and destroyed. Tai Tulong was sent flying like a kite with its string cut. He was unable to withstand this tyrannical power. Yang Hanwu was not having a good time either. After all, Tai Tulong was a late-stage sovereign realm expert and was extremely powerful. Even with the help of the common people's great world's power and the help of the formation, Yang Hanwu was barely able to contend against Tai Tulong. Tai Tulong's strength had exceeded his expectations. If he had not killed the Serpent King in the Myriad Dragon Mountains, he would have been in big trouble. It should be known that once a cultivator and a battle pet worked together, their fighting strength would not be as simple as 1 + 1. It could be said that if Tai Tulong and his battle pet worked together, his fighting strength would be at least 30% higher than it was now. Don't underestimate this 30% increase. This meant that with his late-stage sovereign strength, he could absolutely crush ordinary late-stage sovereigns. He could even fight against 2 late-stage sovereigns. Little B** starred, I have to admit that you're really strong. I wonder which old monster you are. But it's a pity that you've met me today. You're going to die here today. Tai Tulong stood up and looked at Yang Hanwu coldly. This formation is indeed very powerful. As long as I limit the power of this formation, you will die without a doubt. As Tai Tulong spoke, he took out an item. It was a formation disc. Yang Hanwu was shocked when he saw the formation disc in Tai Tulong's hand. This was no ordinary formation disc. As an extremely powerful formation master, how could he not know of the existence of this formation disc? This was the legendary reversal formation disc. The so-called reversal formation disc was a formation disc that had the power to reverse a formation. This kind of formation disc was very rare. The materials needed to refine it were the legendary spacetime jade. This kind of spacetime jade could only be found in the legendary river of spacetime. It was extremely difficult to enter the river of spacetime to find this kind of spacetime jade. Sovereigns didn't have the ability to enter the river of spacetime. What kind of place was the river of spacetime? Unless one was strong enough. Only experts who had comprehended the Tao of time could enter the river of spacetime. Moreover, they couldn't stay for long. Therefore, the spacetime jade was too precious. The core of this reversal formation disc was the spacetime jade. How could Yang Hanwu not be shocked when he saw that Tai Tulong had such a precious treasure? In fact, the spacetime jade was extremely precious. It was too wasteful to use it to make a reversal formation disc. However, the moment Tai Tulong activated the formation disc, Yang Hanwu knew that things weren't going well. The formation had lost its effect the moment the formation disc was activated. Without the power of the formation, it was impossible for him to contend against Tai Tulong. After all, Tai Tulong's cultivation was 2 realms higher than his. One should know that he was only at the Divine Emperor realm, although he had reached the peak of the Divine Emperor realm. Although he was at the peak of the Divine Emperor realm, he was still far from the Sovereign realm. Little bastard, now that you don't have the formation's support, let's see how long you can be arrogant. Tai Tulong looked at Yang Hanwu and said coldly. Yang Hanwu took a deep breath. This was troublesome, the biggest problem. However, the reversal formation disc wasn't omnipotent. There was a limit to the spacetime jade's power. The formation he had set up was so powerful that he could only use it once in a short period of time. He couldn't go head-on against Tai Tulong. He had just finished. Therefore, Yang Hanwu prepared to make a strategic retreat. "Old man, let's meet again in Iron Mountain City." After saying that, Yang Hanwu's figure flashed and disappeared from where he stood. He had instantly entered another array formation. "Nini, let's go." Yang Hanwu came to where Pan and I and the others were and pulled them up. Chapter 1895. "Husband, where's Tai Tulong? Did you kill him?" Pan and I asked. Yang Hanwu shook his head. "No, Tai Tulong is too strong. Originally, I could have used my formation to suppress him, but I didn't expect him to have a reversal disc. That's why I'm not his match right now. But that's why I have to go to the Iron Mountain City now. This is our best chance. Let's go." With a thought, Yang Hanwu activated the void travel technique and the four of them disappeared on the spot. In the next moment, they appeared outside the Iron Mountain City. Tai Tulong narrowed his eyes when he realized that Yang Hanwu was gone. But with the formation gone, Tai Tulong immediately noticed what had happened in the Myriad Dragon Mountains. He sensed that the Myriad Dragon Mountains had changed greatly. The spiritual energy there had become extremely thin. That meant that the spirit vein had been taken away. That wasn't what angered Tai Tulong the most. What infuriated him the most was that the Snake King was dead. His battle pet, the Snake King, had been killed. Not only that, but what was even worse was that his supreme treasure had also disappeared. That was his greatest trump card, his most important thing. He had a bad feeling before he came to the Myriad Dragon Mountains. He didn't expect that it would really happen. "Little bastard, you deserve to die. You deserve to die 1,000 times over. My treasure, I'll definitely kill you." Tai Tulong roared. He scanned the surroundings with his divine consciousness. This must have something to do with Yang Hanwu. At first, he thought that Yang Hanwu was just a divine emperor, nothing to worry about. But after the battle, he realized how powerful Yang Hanwu was when he activated the formation. If he did not use the reversal formation disc, Yang Hanwu would have died. If he hadn't used the reversal disc, he would have been trapped by Yang Hanwu. He was a late-stage sovereign, but he couldn't even defeat Yang Hanwu, who was only a divine emperor. It was not hard to imagine how powerful Yang Hanwu was. For Tai Tulong, even his sworn enemy, Shanhai Guanyue, had never been this concerned. But Yang Hanwu was the only one who made him feel fear. "I must kill him. I must tear him to pieces." At this moment, Tai Tulong's eyes were filled with terrifying killing intent. He wanted to kill Yang Hanwu and take back his treasures. This little bastard really knows how to hide. I wonder where he went. He had searched almost the entire 10,000 Dragon Mountain, but he still could not find Yang Hanwu's location. The Tao of Space? That little bastard actually knows the Tao of Space. Tai Tulong narrowed his eyes. If he couldn't find the Tao of Space within a radius of 1,000 zhang, then he had to find the Tao of Space within a radius of 10,000 zhang. However, what he didn't expect was that Yang Hanwu had already entered the Iron Mountain City. Right now, the person in charge of the Iron Mountain City was Tai Mang's son, Tai Xiaoyao. After Tai Mang's death, he was the strongest after Tai Tulong. As a result, the position of City Lord naturally fell into Tai Xiaoyao's hands. To Tai Xiaoyao, this was a great thing. He had easily obtained the position of City Lord, which made him extremely happy. However, Tai Xiaoyao wasn't an idiot. Since this person had silently killed Tai Mang in Iron Mountain City, that person's strength was definitely terrifying. After all, Tai Mang's cultivation was a bit higher than his own. Since this person had killed Tai Mang without making a sound, that person's strength was definitely terrifying. If this person could kill Tai Mang, this meant that this person could also kill him. As a result, Tai Xiaoyao was extremely careful. He didn't dare to give this person the slightest chance. He was extremely worried about his own safety. After all, he didn't want to die. He had only become the city lord of the Iron Mountain City not long ago. If he died like this, it would be too worthless. I really don't know who killed that old bastard Tai Meng. If possible, I really want to work with him. In fact, Tai Xiaoyao's ambition was great. He knew very well that even though he was the city lord, he didn't have much control over the Iron Mountain City. The Iron Mountain City didn't have much power. 70% of the city's origin was in Tai Tulong's hands. As the city lord, he only controlled 30%. Now that he had obtained 30% of the Iron Mountain City's essence and destiny, his cultivation base had advanced a step further. He was now only a sliver away from the sovereign realm. If he could obtain even more of the Iron Mountain City's essence and destiny, his strength would reach a whole new level. The ruler realm. If I can kill that old bastard Tai Tulong as well, that would be even better. Tai Xiaoyao murmured. Little did he know that Yang Hanwu had already entered the city. Moreover, he was inside the city lord's mansion. Looking at Tai Xiaoyao, Yang Hanwu couldn't help but laugh inwardly. This guy's ambition was great. Moreover, he actually wanted to kill Tai Tulong. How bold! Didn't he know that Iron Mountain City was only able to survive because of Tai Tulong? If it wasn't for Tai Tulong, the city would have fallen into the hands of others long ago. How could it have survived for so long? Who is it? Suddenly, Tai Xiaoyao's expression changed. As the city lord, he felt a trace of strangeness at this moment. Yang Hanwu smiled. He didn't expect that he would be exposed at a time like this. Tai Xiaoyao. Who are you? Newcomer? Who let you in? How dare you? This is the city lord's mansion of my Iron Mountain City. Do you know that trespassing here is a crime punishable by death? He thought that Yang Hanwu was a guard of the city. However, he hadn't seen this person before. He thought that he was a newcomer because he had never seen him before. In truth, Yang Hanwu knew that Tai Xiaoyao was pretending. He had already called out Tai Xiaoyao's name, yet Tai Xiaoyao was still pretending not to know. One had to admit that Tai Xiaoyao's acting skills were truly astonishing. In fact, Tai Xiaoyao was doing it on purpose. This person was actually able to enter the city lord's mansion without anyone noticing. Moreover, Tai Xiaoyao recalled Tai Meng's death. Wasn't he also silently killed in the city lord's mansion back then? Is that so? This person before him was probably the one who had killed Tai Meng back then. If this person could easily kill Tai Meng, then he could also kill him. Therefore, Tai Xiaoyao wanted to stall for time and send the message to Tai Tulong. At this time, no one could save him. If this person before him was the murderer, then the only person who could save him was Tai Tulong. Chapter 1896. You want to kill Tai Tulong? Asked Yang Hanwu. Hearing Yang Hongwu's words, Tai Xiaoyao was delighted. Yang Hongwu's question meant that he still had a way out. If Yang Hanwu wanted to kill him, he wouldn't need to say so much. How does young master know? Asked Tai Xiaoyao. Tai Tulong, that old bastard. Back then, it was because he helped that bastard Tai Meng. Otherwise, my mother wouldn't have died. Tai Xiaoyao's eyes were filled with hatred as he said this. This was the truth. Back then, his mother's death had a lot to do with Tai Meng and Tai Tulong. As a result, Tai Xiaoyao hated Tai Meng to the bone. Tai Tulong was also an accomplice. However, Tai Tulong was too strong, so he didn't dare say anything. Now that old bastard Tai Meng is dead, if I find out who helped me kill him, I'll personally thank them. If young master is willing to help me kill Tai Tulong, I'll naturally be endlessly grateful. Yang Hanwu looked at Tai Xiaoyao. This guy was very shrewd and as cunning as a fox. However, in the face of absolute strength, any schemes would be futile. It's good to have ambition. If you cooperate with me, you'll be able to do it. If you cooperate with me, killing Tai Tulong won't be difficult. But right now, what I want you to do is give up your position as the city lord. Tai Xiaoyao's expression changed. If young master wants to be the city lord of Iron Mountain City, I naturally approve of it. However, in order to become the city lord, you must have the bloodline of Iron Mountain City. Without the bloodline of Iron Mountain City, young master can't control Iron Mountain City. Tai Xiaoyao was naturally unwilling to give up the position of city lord. Once he gave up the position of city lord, all his plans would fail. Moreover, after becoming city lord, he would be high and mighty. Most importantly, after becoming city lord, he would be able to enjoy the entire Iron Mountain. He would be able to cultivate with the source spiritual energy of the city and the blessing of Iron Mountain City. How could he be willing to give up such a good thing? You don't need to worry about that. Just hand over the city lord's seal and cancel the contract. Yang Hanwu looked at Tai Xiaoyao. As long as you hand it over, I'll help you kill Tai Xiaoyao and avenge you. How about it? Hearing those words, Tai Xiaoyao was extremely furious in his heart. However, he did not dare to refuse because he knew very well that if he dared to refuse, his little life would likely be finished. I agree, young master, said Tai Xiaoyao humbly. In truth, if Yang Hanwu wasn't trying to seize Iron Mountain City, he wouldn't need to be so long-winded. He could have just killed. If he did that, then he wouldn't be able to refine the city, too. 2. After killing the city lord of a city, if he wanted to seize the city's source energy, he would be resisted by the city's source energy. It would be much more difficult to refine the city's source energy. If the city lord himself were to abdicate, hand over the city lord's seal and cancel the contract, it would be different. That way, it would be much easier to refine the city's source energy. In Iron Mountain City, Tai Xiaoyao, the city lord, possessed the city lord's seal. Yet, he only controlled 30% of the city's source energy. Tai Tulong, on the other hand, controlled 70%. As such, it was much more difficult to seize the city's source energy. However, once Tai Xiaoyao grasped 30% of the city's source energy, he would be able to interfere with Tai Tulong. At that time, Tai Tulong would be unable to borrow the city's source energy. That way, it would be much easier to deal with him. That was Yang Hanwu's plan. If that wasn't the case, Yang Hanwu wouldn't have been in such a hurry to enter Iron Mountain City to cause trouble for Tai Xiaoyao. He could have just set up a spirit formation outside the city. Very well. Yang Hanwu nodded. If you work for me wholeheartedly, I won't mistreat you. I'll give you a chance to enter the next sacred hall. The sacred hall that Yang Hanwu was referring to was the Felling Sacred Hall. It was not easy to enter the fourth Felling Sacred Hall. There were countless geniuses in the cities of the sky-reaching continent, yet less than 100 people were qualified to enter the next sacred hall. It was a clear sign of how fierce the competition was. Meanwhile, cities like the Iron Mountain City and the Flame City were located at the edge of the heaven-reaching continent. They were considered barren lands, thus it was extremely rare for a peerless genius to be born here. Basically, every person that entered the next temple would be a peerless genius. They were born in the central continent of the sky-reaching continent, not in the borderlands. Of course, there were occasionally peerless geniuses that appeared in the borderlands, but they were extremely rare. Moreover, more importantly, there was an age limit for those who wanted to enter the next Divine Palace examination. They had to cultivate for less than 1,000 years. To Tai Xiaoyao, his chances were not high. This year, he was already in his 999th year. In other words, after this year, he would no longer have a chance. With his current cultivation, it was almost impossible for him to enter the next sacred hall. However, Yang Hanwu told him this. How could he not be surprised? If he was really given a chance to enter the next round, it would be worth it no matter how big the price he had to pay. If he relied on his own strength, he wouldn't be able to become one of the 100 or so people. After all, those people were all mid-stage and late-stage rulers. Sometimes, the strongest of them could even reach peak rulers or even half-step rulers. They were all in the Tao Lord realm. You don't believe me? Yang Hanwu looked at Tai Xiaoyao and asked. No, of course not. I'm just too happy, said Tai Xiaoyao. He didn't dare to refute. When Yang Hanwu asked, he could only nod. Have you heard of the Sacred Hall? Asked Yang Hanwu. Sacred Hall? Tai Xiaoyao's eyes widened as he stared at Yang Hanwu. Of course, he had heard of the divine token before. It was a legendary item. It was rumored that whoever obtained the divine token would be able to use it to pass the test and enter the next level. In the Sacred Hall, it wasn't just that. One could also obtain a supreme super skill from the Sacred Hall. Young Master, do you have information about the Sacred Hall? Or do you have the Sacred Hall with you? Tai Xiaoyao asked. However, he didn't believe it. If Yang Hanwu really had the Sacred Hall, why would he stay here? Wouldn't he enter the next Sacred Hall? Chapter 1897. Planar boat? Tai Xiaoyao was taken aback. He didn't expect Yang Hanwu to want this item. Do you want to return to your original plane? Even though the planar boat was powerful and could travel between planes, it was impossible to use it to go to the next shrine. Back then, the master of the planar boat had entered Tongtian by accident. But now, the planar boat had disappeared for a long time. It was very difficult to find it again. It's very difficult to find it. I think it should be possible to exchange information about the planar boat with the divine token, right? Yan Hanwu said. When Tai Xiaoyao heard this, he had to admit that it was possible. The dimensional boat was far less important than the divine token in everyone's eyes. No matter how powerful the dimensional boat was, it was just a treasure that could travel between planes. It was extremely powerful. It would take time to travel between planes. Therefore, this treasure was useless in battle. After all, who would stand still on the battlefield and give you a chance to attack? Moreover, each time the planar boat traveled between planes, it consumed a huge amount of energy. After all, how could a little bit of energy be enough to travel between planes? Therefore, it was very worthwhile to exchange information about the planar boat for information about the divine token. In fact, if someone had a planar boat, it was not impossible to directly exchange it for information about the divine token. Well, young master, are you really willing to exchange information about the planar boat for the planar boat? Tai Xiaoyao asked. What? Do you have information about the planar boat? Yang Hanwu couldn't help but ask when he heard that. If this guy knew about the planar boat, it would be a piece of cake for him to obtain it. The planar boat was what he wanted the most right now. If he could obtain it, he would have to pay a price. Even if he had to give up a supreme treasure, it was still acceptable. I don't, but that old geezer, Tai Tulong, should know. Therefore, if you can capture Tai Tulong alive, you can obtain information about the planar boat, Tai Xiaoyao said. You have to get information about the planar boat from Tai Tulong. Yang Hanwu narrowed his eyes. This was no easy task. Now that he and Tai Tulong were already mortal enemies, there was no other choice but to kill Tai Tulong. Of course, if he could completely suppress Tai Tulong and beat him half to death, the possibility of him revealing the planar boat under threat of death was very high. That's a little difficult, but it's still doable, Yang Hanwu said. After all, it would be extremely difficult to capture an expert like a late-stage sovereign alive. For such a powerhouse, killing him was much easier than capturing him alive. Tai. What kind of trump card? It's best if you're confident. If you can't, you can find another way. In fact, Tai Xiaoyao really wanted a scheme against Yang Hanwu. In his opinion, if Yang Hanwu and Tai Tulong were able to injure each other, that would be the best outcome. That would be the best outcome. However, the possibility of that happening was very small. But there was still hope, wasn't there? Tai Xiaoyao naturally knew how terrifying Tai Tulong's strength was. He had dominated the Tongtian continent for many years. If he didn't have a powerful trump card, how could he have done it? He knew very well that if it weren't for Tai Tulong, the Iron Mountain City would have been destroyed by someone long ago. The most important thing in Iron Mountain City was the Iron Star Oregon. It was an important war resource that could be used to forge powerful weapons. The most terrifying siege weapon on the continent, the Skypiercer cannon, was mainly made of Iron Star Oregon. Iron Mountain City controlled an Iron Star Oregon. Therefore, Iron Mountain City was much more important than Flame City and Anya City. Without a powerhouse like Tai Tulong, Iron Mountain City wouldn't have been able to protect its Iron Star Oregon. It was also because of the Iron Star, or that Iron Mountain City was stronger than Flame City and Anya City. Iron Mountain City was the strongest among the few cities closest to Iron Mountain City. In fact, if it wasn't for the fact that Iron Mountain City didn't have enough strength to forge the Skypiercer cannon, it would have become a first-class city in the Tongtian continent. We'll talk about this when Tai Tulong arrives. There's not much time left. Hand over the City Lord Seal. Yang Hanwu looked at Tai Xiaoyao and said. Time was of the essence. Although Tai Tulong had fallen into his trap, he would soon find out about it and would definitely be on his way back. If Tai Xiaoyao still wanted to stall for time, he wouldn't mind killing him first. Tai Xiaoyao looked at Yang Hongwu's expression. He knew that if he didn't hand over the City Lord Seal, he would definitely die. At this level, there was absolutely no one who was soft-hearted. Even if they were kind, they would never give their enemies a chance. Tai Xiaoyao had no choice but to take out the City Lord Seal. He stretched out his hand and a sparkling and translucent jade appeared in his palm. It was the City Lord Seal. He was extremely reluctant to part with it, but he had no choice but to hand it over. Young master, this is the City Lord Seal of Iron Mountain City. Tai Xiaoyao was very uncomfortable after handing over the City Lord Seal, but he still wore a smile on his face. However, Yang Hanwu didn't care whether he was uncomfortable or not. He reached out and the City Lord Seal flew into his hand. After obtaining the City Lord Seal, Yang Hongwu's mind moved and his massive spiritual consciousness poured into the seal. He discovered that there were actually 2 spiritual imprints in the City Lord Seal. Needless to say, one of these 2 spiritual imprints definitely belonged to Tai Xiaoyao. The other was probably Tai Tulong's. Aren't you going to erase your spiritual imprint? Do you want me to do it? Yang Hanwu said coldly. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. I forgot. Tai Xiaoyao was shocked. He had erased most of his spiritual imprint, leaving only a trace behind. However, he never thought that Yang Hanwu would discover it. Chapter 1898. Myriad Dragon Mountain. Tai Tulong roared in anger. Damned bastard! How dare you scheme against me? At this moment, he discovered that his mental imprint on the City Lord Seal had been erased, so he naturally knew what had happened. That bastard had schemed against him once more. He had killed City Lord Tai Meng for the items in the Myriad Dragon Mountains, and now that he had plundered the Myriad Dragon Mountains, he had returned to the City Lord's residence. How hateful! Ever since he had started cultivating, he had never felt so sullen. This time, it was simply too humiliating. This time, he felt extremely aggrieved. Knowing that he had been schemed against, Tai Tulong madly rushed towards Iron Mountain City. Now that his spiritual imprint had been erased, it meant that Tai Xiaoyao wouldn't be able to survive. After obtaining the City Lord Seal, Yang Hanwu looked at Tai Xiaoyao with killing intent in his eyes. What do you want? Tai Xiaoyao's face changed when he saw the killing intent in Yang Hongwu's eyes. He didn't want to die. You said that you wouldn't attack me. We're partners now. He was really worried that Yang Hanwu would attack him at this time. He was afraid of dying. Who knew if this guy would keep his promise? He had forgotten to make Yang Hanwu swear an oath or sign a contract. But even if he hadn't forgotten, he didn't dare to say it. If he did, Yang Hanwu would probably kill him. That wasn't something that was impossible. Yang Hanwu took a deep breath and let go of his killing intent. Don't worry, I won't kill you. But if you don't cooperate, don't blame me for being impolite. Tai Xiaoyao was furious at Yang Hongwu's threat. He couldn't vent the anger in his heart. Bastard, just you wait. When you and that old bastard are both injured, it'll be your time of death. Tai Xiaoyao cursed in his heart. After all, humans had anger. Even a rabbit would bite when it was cornered. With such grievances, it would be strange if he didn't have any thoughts in his heart. But Yang Hanwu didn't care. So what if he was angry? So what if he wanted to kill him? Yang Hanwu didn't care at all. Tai Xiaoyao was still of some use to him. After all, Tai Xiaoyao hated Tai Tulong to the core. If Tai Xiaoyao were to strike out at Tai Tulong at the critical moment, he might be able to deal a fatal blow to Tai Tulong. Take this. Yang Hanwu threw out a pill. It was so black that it was impossible to tell what it was. However, Tai Xiaoyao knew that it was definitely not something good. Tai Xiaoyao naturally didn't want it when he took it out. However, he had no choice. If Yang Hanwu wanted him to eat it, he had to eat it. If he didn't, he would die. Overbearing. This was Yang Hanwu's overbearingness. If you don't want to eat, fine, then die. If you don't want to do what I want you to do, sorry, then I'll beat you to death. In front of absolute strength, Tai Xiaoyao was suppressed to the point that he did not have any temper. Even if there was anger in his heart, he had to endure it. Yes, young master. Although he was unwilling to eat this pill, he had no choice but to do so. He knew very well that once he ate this pill, it meant that he would be completely controlled and lose his freedom. After watching him eat the pill, Yang Hanwu released the formation and brought Yang Tianjun and the others in. Juner, this is the seal of the city lord of Iron Mountain City. Refine it. Yang Hanwu threw the city lord's seal to his son, Yang Tianjun. After all, his main purpose in taking over Iron Mountain City was to help Yang Tianjun become the Iron Mountain. The city lord of Iron Mountain City could borrow the origin energy of Iron Mountain City to completely perfect his chaotic star body. This would allow his cultivation to recover and reach a higher level. Thank you, father. Yang Tianjun's eyes widened. He didn't expect Yang Hanwu to do it so easily. Pan and I and Anya Shen were also shocked, especially Pan and I. She and Yang Tianjun had been captured and brought to the city lord residence. After all, they were very clear about the strength of Iron Mountain City. Moreover, seizing the city lord's seal of a city was extraordinarily difficult. Unless there was an absolute suppression, there was no way to seize the city lord's seal. It should be known that when a city lord was in the city lord residence, the power of the origin energy of the city lord residence would be extremely strong. Once the city lord's origin energy was mobilized, his combat strength would be extremely terrifying. If he attacked them at this time, it would mean that he would be going against the entire city. A city in the sky-reaching continent was not like any other plane world. A city here was connected to the lower realm. Therefore, this was actually equivalent to going against an entire world. How could they not be shocked that Yang Hanwu had done it so easily? Powerful. The only thought they had was that he was too powerful. In the entire sky-reaching continent, Yang Hanwu was probably the only person who had such ability. Even the strongest person in the sky-reaching continent, the sky-reaching ruler, might not be able to do it. Is there a need to thank me between you and me? Yang Hanwu smiled slightly. After all, Tai Yao was his son. Being able to help his son and getting him to thank him was very satisfying. Tai Xiaoyao naturally knew Yang Tianjun and Pan and I. However, he had also guessed that Tai Meng had captured Yang Tianjun and Pan and I in order to steal Yang Tianjun's bloodline power. However, he had never expected that Yang Tianjun would have such a powerful father. A powerful and tyrannical father had not given him any chance to kill him. Moreover, it had happened in the city lord's residence. He hadn't even had the chance to send a message for help. He had originally thought that Yang Hanwu wanted him to refine the city lord's seal and become the city lord of Iron Mountain City. It was unimaginable that Yang Hanwu would give up the position of city lord. This thing was extremely tempting to anyone. One had to know that as a city lord, there would be many benefits. Tai Xiaoyao had personally experienced this point. If it wasn't for the fact that his life was in danger, he definitely wouldn't have given it up. To be able to do this, Yang Hanwu was definitely a terrifying person. He was even more terrifying than Tai Xiaoyao had imagined. How terrifying was a person who could resist temptation? Right now, Tai Xiaoyao didn't have any extra thoughts about Yang Hanwu. He would do whatever Yang Hanwu said because he knew that he didn't have the strength to resist. As for Tai Tulong, although he was strong, Tai Xiaoyao didn't think that Tai Tulong would be able to deal with Yang Hanwu. Chapter 1899. Yang Tianjun nodded and began to focus on refining the seal. Generally speaking, refining the seal of a city wasn't something that could be done in a day or two. However, Yang Hanwu had a way to use the karmic fire of the Red Lotus to help him. The combination of the karmic fire of the Red Lotus and Yang Hanwu's Nine Heavens divine dragon technique was very domineering. If it wasn't refined, it would be completely destroyed. Under the suppression of such domineering power, the seal couldn't do anything. Therefore, even if the seal of Iron Mountain City resisted, it would still be refined by Yang Tianjun. It would only take half an hour at most. However, half an hour was still a little too long. In less than a quarter of an hour, Tai Tulong would arrive. However, Yang Hanwu only hoped that Yang Tianjun would refine the seal so that Tai Tulong wouldn't be able to use Iron Mountain City's power to fight against him. Once Tai Tulong lost the power of Iron Mountain City, he would be greatly weakened. Tai Tulong's strength would decrease significantly if he lost the power of Iron Mountain City. Yang Hanwu was very clear about this. While Yang Hanwu was refining the seal, Yang Hanwu casually set up an array formation. Of course, Pan and I was there to protect him. Yang Hanwu himself led Tai Xiaoyao out of the City Lord Mansion and onto the city walls of Iron Mountain City. Yang Hanwu wasn't worried about the other people in Iron Mountain City. This was also why Yang Hanwu wanted to keep Tai Xiaoyao alive. In fact, most people in Iron Mountain City didn't know about Tai Tulong's existence. Only a small number of people knew about him. It was the same for Flame City. Although Hushan Tu and the other two were powerful and were the patriarchs of Flame City, very few people knew about them. It was the same for Iron Mountain City. As the patriarch of a city, Tai Tulong couldn't roam around Iron Mountain City all the time like the city lord. He was usually in seclusion or exploring some ancient ruins or mystic realms to obtain some resources. He wanted to raise his cultivation base. As a result, he didn't show his face much in Iron Mountain City. Even some of the new elders didn't know of his existence. If Yang Hanwu left Tai Xiaoyao behind, he would be able to rope in some people and even completely control the Iron Mountain City. After all, Tai Xiaoyao wasn't a fool. He still had a high prestige in the Iron Mountain City. One must know that he was now the city lord. Other than Tai Tulong, he was the strongest person in the city. Those who didn't know about Tai Tulong would think that Tai Xiaoyao was the strongest person in Iron Mountain City. In Iron Mountain City, who are your enemies and disobey you? Yang Hanwu asked Tai Xiaoyao after setting up a formation outside Iron Mountain City. Therefore, he had to kill Tai Tulong's trusted aides first. He couldn't allow them to pose a threat to him. There are 3 elders. They're old codger Tai Tulong's trusted aides. They've all been groomed by him. Those 3 elders aren't weak. Although they haven't reached the half-step sovereign realm yet, they're not far from it. Apart from one of them, there are 3 others. The other 2 are in seclusion. Rumor has it that they want to break through to the sovereign realm. He knew that Yang Hongwu's words meant that he wanted to help him get rid of the dissidents. Of course, this was also necessary. Tai Xiaoyao understood this very well. If it weren't for the fact that he wasn't strong enough, he would have taken action long ago. Bring me there, said Yang Hanwu. Yes, young master. The elder outside was called Tai Kang. He had always been at odds with Tai Xiaoyao. Back when Tai Xiaoyao wanted to become the city lord, Tai Kang had tried to stop him. That old thing had a very good relationship with Tai Meng. Tai Kang had killed Tai Meng. If it weren't for Tai Tulong, Tai Kang probably would have woken up the other 2 elders to stop him from becoming the city lord. Tai Xiaoyao knew that this old thing also had his own ideas. He also wanted to become the city lord, but that wasn't realistic. After all, that old thing was too old. There wasn't much possibility for him to improve. If that wasn't the case, he would have entered seclusion long ago. In truth, he was the same as Tai Xiaoyao. He also wanted to borrow the power of the city lord's position. He wanted to borrow the power of Iron Mountain City's fortune to increase his cultivation and break through his bottleneck. Thus, after Tai Xiaoyao took the city lord's position, he was very unhappy. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he hated Tai Xiaoyao to the bone. As the saying went, cutting off one's path to wealth was like killing one's parents. Cutting off one's path to cultivation was even more infuriating. "Follow me, young master." Tai Xiaoyao led the way in front. Soon, they arrived at a mansion. This mansion had dense spiritual energy. In Iron Mountain City, it was also the place with the densest spiritual energy. Although it couldn't be compared to the City Lord Mansion, it wasn't much worse. Yes, there was a formation outside. "Young master, this is one of the elders. His name is Tai Kang. This old thing hates me to the bone." Back then, he also wanted to obtain the City Lord's position. However, Tai Tulong didn't agree. Tai Xiaoyao said, "My mother's death back then was related to the three of them. The Great Elder is also related to them. If young master can help me kill these three guys, I'll be extremely grateful. I'm willing to go through water and tread on fire for young master. There's no need for that. You can be considered as my subordinate now. I won't be stingy to my own people. You'll know in the future that I've always been generous to my own people." Yang Hanwu smiled. "Now, let's go in and meet Tai Xiaoyao." "Kang. Young master, there's a formation outside. It won't be easy to enter," Tai Xiaoyao said. Yang Hanwu smiled and said, "Have you forgotten how I entered Iron Mountain City? Have you forgotten how I entered the City Lord's residence?" At this moment, Tai Xiaoyao reacted and said, "I almost forgot. Young master is unparalleled in the world. How can a mere formation block young master's path? It's my fault. Please forgive me." Tai Xiaoyao lowered his posture and flattered Yang Hanwu without leaving a trace. Yang Hanwu knew what Tai Xiaoyao was thinking. He smiled and didn't care about it. "Open." Yang Hanwu stretched out his hand and flicked a few pills. These pills were naturally the formation-breaking pills. Yang Hanwu didn't even need to waste his energy to break such a formation. He could easily break it with the formation-breaking pills. The formation-breaking pills turned into rays of light and fell on the formation. This time, the formation was instantly broken. Young master is mighty. Chapter 1900. Boom! With a huge sound, Yang Hanwu kicked the door open after breaking the protective formation. "Who dares to barge into the elder's residence? Are you looking to die?" Hearing the sound, a guard hurriedly walked out and shouted, "City Lord." Seeing the person who came, the guard's face changed. He didn't know why the City Lord, Tai Xiaoyao, would come here. Moreover, he was so domineering, not caring about etiquette and directly attacking the door. The formation outside also seemed to have been broken. The elder was still cultivating. Under normal circumstances, Elder Tai Kang wouldn't open the protective formation. Only when he was cultivating would he open the formation. This protective formation was extremely powerful. Ordinary people couldn't barge in, but the City Lord was an exception. If the City Lord borrowed the power of the Iron Mountain City, he could naturally break the formation. After all, as the City Lord of the Iron Mountain City, he could easily mobilize the entire Iron Mountain City. The power of the Iron Mountain City. Tai Erma was Tai Kang's guard. He had guarded Tai Kang's residence for so many years, and almost no one dared to barge in. This was the first time. And when he saw that the person who came was the City Lord, Tai Xiaoyao, he was stunned. He knew what to do. As a guard, he knew a little about the grudges between his master and City Lord Tai Xiaoyao. Back then, his master wanted to fight for the City Lord's position, but he didn't expect that he would fail. The City Lord's position was taken by Tai Xiaoyao. The pain in his heart. "City Lord, are you here to find my master?" Tai Ermao, who had calmed down, looked at Tai Xiaoyao and said, "My master is one of the three elders. Even if the City Lord came to visit my master, you shouldn't destroy the door." If it was an ordinary person, Tai Ermao could scold them without any hesitation. However, Tai Xiaoyao was different. He was the City Lord, and he was very powerful. He wasn't weaker than his master. He didn't dare to offend Tai Xiaoyao. As Tai Kang's guard for so many years, his ability to observe people's expressions was first class. He knew what he should do, what he shouldn't do, when he should say something, and what he shouldn't say. He was very clear on all of this. At that moment, although it was the city master who had forcibly intruded into an elder's residence and was in the wrong, the other party was, after all, the city master. He was not someone that a mere guard like him could offend and denounce. Only his own master could do such a thing and denounce him. His current idea was to first stabilize the city lord, Tai Xiaoyao, and find out why the city lord had come. Then, he would send someone to call his master. "Where's Tai Kang now?" Tai Xiaoyao said, "Tell me, and I can spare your life." At this moment, Tai Xiaoyao knew how powerful Yang Hanwu was. Therefore, he wasn't afraid of being schemed against in Tai Kang's mansion. Even though he no longer had the position of city lord and couldn't mobilize the power of Iron Mountain City, he wasn't afraid. Moreover, they were here to kill anyway, so there was no need to be secretive and long-winded. You, City Lord, why are you doing this?" Tai Erma was terrified. He couldn't believe that Tai Xiaoyao, the city lord, would actually say such words. Was he trying to start a fight? One had to know that even if Tai Xiaoyao was the city lord, he would still have to consider dealing with an elder. No need to go through so much trouble. "Let's go in. Tai Kang is inside." Yang Hanwu waved his hand and a ray of light shot out, instantly killing Tai Erma. At that moment, an old man rushed over with dozens of people. These dozens of people weren't weak at all. And that old man's strength had already reached the late stage of emperor. However, Yang Hanwu didn't take it to heart. "Young master, that's Tai Kang's housekeeper, Tai Sifu." Tai Xiaoyao said, "This old guy isn't weak at all. He's very loyal to Tai Kang." "Tai Xiaoyao, you dare to intrude into an elder's residence? You're provoking him. You're trying to start a fight. Do you know that? Although you're the city lord, this Iron Mountain City doesn't belong to you alone." Tai Sifu shouted. He stared at Tai Xiaoyao, and a trace of killing intent flashed through his eyes. "If you retreat now, I can pretend that none of this has happened. Otherwise, you'll have to pay the price." Tai Xiaoyao was infuriated when he heard that. Mother asterisk Ker. He was the city lord of Iron Mountain City. Other than Tai Tulong, he was the most powerful person in the city. However, none of these bastards dared to take him seriously. "You're just a servant. How dare you be so presumptuous in front of me? You don't know your place. Die!" Tai Xiaoyao was infuriated. Intense killing intent erupted from his body as he took a step forward. A terrifying aura erupted from him as he punched out. This punch contained 90% of Tai Xiaoyao's strength. His strength was at the peak of the half-step sovereign realm. He was only a step away from entering the sovereign realm. A punch with 90% of his strength was extremely terrifying. Tai Sifu. Although his cultivation was also at the late stage of emperor, there was still a huge gap between him and Tai Xiaoyao. Damn it! Tai Sifu was terrified. He hurriedly took out his weapon to block the attack. He never thought that Tai Xiaoyao would be so bold. He directly attacked and wanted to kill. Logically speaking, although Tai Xiaoyao was the city lord, he still didn't have complete control over the power of Iron Mountain City. Therefore, he couldn't completely fall out with his master. One must know that his master and his brothers were all elders, and their strength was at the half-step sovereign realm. Together, they could use a supreme treasure to kill a sovereign realm expert. Moreover, offending his master was equivalent to offending the elder group of Iron Mountain City. A city lord couldn't do many things without the support of the elder group. Therefore, Tai Xiaoyao's reaction surprised him. Although Tai Sifu's strength was not bad, in the end, he was still not Tai Xiaoyao's opponent. He was sent flying by a punch, but Tai Xiaoyao did not stop. He attacked again, determined to kill Tai Sifu. It was as if he had made up his mind to kill. "Stop!" Seeing that Tai Sifu was about to be beaten to death, he was already in despair. At this moment, a voice sounded, and a powerful force blocked Tai Xiaoyao's attack. It was Tai Kang. "You old turtle, you've finally come out." Tai Xiaoyao stared at Tai Kang. "I thought you were going to continue being a coward. Tai Xiaoyao, you've got guts. You dare to come to my residence and kill people? Who gave you the courage? Don't think that just because you're the city lord, I won't dare to touch you. If it weren't for the old ancestor, I would have killed you." Tai Kang was furious. Chapter 1901. Hearing this, Yang Hanwu shook his head and refused. "Although your strength is not bad, it is still very difficult for you to kill him. His current strength is not much different from yours. Even if you can kill him, you will have to pay a huge price. Moreover, it is very difficult for you to kill him. Moreover, it's too time-consuming. I don't have that much time." Hearing Tai Xiaoyao's words, Tai Kang looked at Yang Hanwu. This young man was just a divine emperor. Even though he was at the peak of the divine emperor realm, he was still far from being a true divine emperor. However, Tai Xiaoyao had called him young master. Moreover, this young man seemed to be very arrogant, which made Tai Kang very puzzled. At first, he thought that this young man was just Tai Xiaoyao's disciple or a new genius from the lower world. However, looking at Tai Xiaoyao's attitude towards this young man was not simple at all. Tai Kang. Tai Xiaoyao, who is he? Tai Kang said, "You dare to bring an outsider into the Iron Mountain City, what do you want to do?" "Humph, do I need your permission to do what I want to do?" Tai Xiaoyao snorted coldly, "Old man, it's your honor to die in the hands of young master." Tai Kang's eyes flashed coldly. It seemed like it was true. However, he did not think that Yang Hanwu, a mere divine emperor realm warrior, could kill him. What an arrogant tone, a mere divine emperor realm warrior dares to be so arrogant. Tai Xiaoyao, as the city lord, you dare to collude with an outsider to kill me, an elder. This is treason. After I kill this brat, I'll catch you and bring you to the old ancestor. After saying that, Tai Kang moved. He stretched out his hand and grabbed towards Yang Hanwu. His speed was so fast that people could not see it clearly. Humph! Yang Hanwu coldly snorted and didn't care at all. Although Tai Kang's speed was fast, it wasn't enough to enter Yang Hanwu's eyes. Just as Tai Kang's attack was about to reach Yang Hanwu moved and instantly unleashed a finger attack. A terrifying power was released as if it came from the immemorial time. This finger attack easily blocked Tai Kang's attack. Too weak. How dare you be so arrogant when you're so weak? You're courting death. In reality, Tai Kang's strength wasn't that weak. However, Yang Hanwu had already set up a formation to restrict the other party's strength, and Yang Hanwu could borrow the power of the formation to crush the other party. Originally, Yang Hanwu didn't need the formation. However, in order to end the battle quickly, Yang Hanwu had set up a formation. With his attack blocked, Tai Kang's face changed greatly. Only then did he realize that something was wrong. His cultivation had been suppressed, and he couldn't use all of it. He stared at Tai Xiaoyao and said sternly, Tai Xiaoyao, you sealed the power of the city and activated the power of laws? Do you know that you're courting death? The power of laws in Iron Mountain City could not be casually activated. It could only be activated in the event of an unstoppable invasion. You can only use it when the time comes. You actually dared to violate the rules left behind by the ancestor. You're dead meat. Do you know that if you regret it now, it's still not too late to stop using it? You can avoid death. How noisy. Yang Hanwu didn't want to be long-winded. Although this old man was strong, when he activated the formation and went all out, not to mention a mere half-step sovereign, even a true sovereign wouldn't be enough. Yang Hanwu punched out fiercely. Boundless magical powers burst forth. How terrifying was the power of this punch! It was like a blow from an ancient Tao lord. In an instant, it pierced through Tai Kang, leaving a hole in his chest. His heart was completely pulverized. It shattered. His soul also turned into nothingness in an instant. This punch wasn't a simple attack. Yang Hanwu had mobilized the power of destruction. It was the power of karmic fire combined with the law of destruction. It was too terrifying. Yang Hanwu didn't expect that this attack would directly destroy Tai Kang's soul. It was far beyond his expectations. When Tai Xiaoyao saw the scene, he couldn't believe it. It was too terrifying, too powerful. At this moment, the servants of the elder's residence who had recovered from their shock were terrified to the extreme. They looked at Yang Hanwu as if they were looking at a terrifying demon. "Run! The elder is dead. Run!" Suddenly, a voice shouted. "If we don't run, we'll all die here." When this voice came out, everyone frantically fled. However, there were a few exceptions. One of them was Tai Sifu. He shouted and rushed towards Yang Hanwu. "Kill! Kill him and avenge Master! Kill!" Their eyes were red and filled with hatred. They rushed towards Yang Hanwu without any regard for their lives. They knew that Yang Hanwu's cultivation was so strong that they were far from being his match. They knew that they would be courting death, but they still rushed over regardless of the consequences. Yang Hanwu was impressed. He was also very impressed. These people were really loyal. However, they still had to be killed. These were all his enemies. Yang Hanwu had never left an enemy who hated him to the bone. Those who deserve to be killed must be killed without any hesitation. Towards the enemy, he must be like the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves. He must not leave any leeway. Yang Hanwu waved his hand and shot out a palm. Suddenly, flames appeared in the sky. Then, they turned into fire dragons and rushed toward them. Wherever the fire dragons went, they were all devoured by the fire dragons and turned into ashes, dissipating between heaven and earth. They were all dead. Not a single one of them survived. This was the power of the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. In a few breaths' time, all those who dared to attack Yang Hanwu were all dead. It was too terrifying, too powerful. He was simply a murderous demon. Tai Xiaoyao took a deep breath. Although killing was normal and exterminating an entire clan was a common thing, he still couldn't help but be shocked when he saw this scene. This was because the method of killing was too terrifying. There was nothing left behind. Because this was the true meaning of not leaving a corpse behind. They couldn't be more dead. He felt that the souls of those people just now were annihilated. This meant that they didn't even have the chance to reincarnate. As such, Tai Xiaoyao was even more in awe of Yang Hanwu. "Where are the remaining two? Where are they? Take me there." Yang Hanwu acted as if he had done something insignificant. His expression was very calm. There was no change in his expression. "Young master, follow me. Those two old things are cultivating in seclusion together." Tai Xiaoyao walked in front. Soon, he brought Yang Hanwu to the front of a tower. This tower looked very ordinary, but Yang Hanwu felt a trace of special power. Under this tower, there was actually a spiritual vein. Chapter 1902. This pagoda is the sacred cultivation ground of our Iron Mountain City, the Cultivation Pagoda. Only those with outstanding talent or great contributions can enter here to cultivate. It's a pity that this cultivation pagoda is controlled by Old Haotian and Old Haotian. Tai Kang and those three old things are in control. If not for them, Iron Mountain City's strength would have risen to another level. Tai Xiaoyao explained. Yang Hanwu could see the resentment in Tai Xiaoyao's heart. He reckoned that Tai Xiaoyao would not have many chances to enter the cultivation pagoda to cultivate. He had to admit that because of the spiritual vein in the cultivation pagoda, the spiritual qi here was very abundant. It could be said that one could make rapid progress. As for Tai Kang and the others controlling this place and not allowing others to enter to cultivate, it was most likely due to their own reasons. Once one's cultivation base reached the half-step sovereign level, one would need vast amounts of spiritual energy to break through. Once someone else entered this place, they would be able to cultivate. If other people entered the cultivation pagoda to cultivate, a portion of the spiritual qi would be divided. As a result, their cultivation effects wouldn't be very good. After all, their cultivation was at the half-step sovereign realm. It would be very difficult for them to advance any further. Furthermore, when they cultivated, the amount of spiritual chi they inhaled and exhaled was very frightening. If there were more people cultivating in the cultivation pagoda, their cultivation effects would be greatly reduced. Although the spiritual vein here was rich in spiritual chi, it couldn't be extracted all at once. Moreover, if they could really do that, it would be like killing the goose that laid the golden eggs. The gains wouldn't make up for the losses. It was because of these reasons that they restricted others from entering this place to cultivate. As the saying goes, every man for himself, and the devil takes the hindmost. This was a very normal thing. Once others encroached on their interests, they would think of ways to stop them. They would protect their interests. What a great cultivation ground! Yan Hanwu said. Cultivating here can be said to make rapid progress. If you can set up a 9 heavens spirit gathering formation, it would be even better. It can gather the spiritual chi in the surroundings and raise the spiritual chi here by a level. Tai Xiaoyao was shocked. He had heard of the 9 heavens spirit gathering array. In the Tongtian continent, there was only one person who could set up a spirit gathering array of that level. That was the legendary Sky Array City Lord, Sky Array Taoist. However, the Celestial Array Priest had disappeared for a long time. Even the people of Celestial Array City didn't know where he went. Celestial Array City was under the control of his disciples. Although his disciples were talented in the Tao of Arrays, they couldn't compare to Celestial Array City. Formation Taoists. Moreover, even if he was the disciple of the Sky Array Taoist, he wouldn't easily set up arrays for others. If he wanted to help, he would have to pay a huge price. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to afford it. In fact, the city protection formation of Iron Mountain City had been set up by an elder of Sky Array City. He had paid a great price to set it up. If young master likes it, you can use the cultivation pagoda as you wish after we take down those 2 old things, Tai Xiaoyao said. In fact, Tai Xiaoyao was very smart. From what Yang Hanwu had said before, he knew that Yang Hanwu wouldn't stay in Iron Mountain City for too long. If he found the boat of the plane, he would leave quickly. Therefore, after taking care of the 2 old things in the cultivation pagoda and Tai Tulong, Yang Hanwu wouldn't stay for too long. Even Yang Hongwu's son, Yang Tianjun, would be the same. By then, wouldn't Iron Mountain City be his? Even if Yang Hanwu let his son, Yang Tianjun, stay and continue to be the city lord of Iron Mountain City, or leave one person behind, Tai Xiaoyao would still have many opportunities to cultivate in the cultivation pagoda. Moreover, if Yang Tianjun stayed as the city lord this time, if Yang Hanwu could set up a formation, he would definitely set up a powerful spirit gathering formation. Wouldn't that be better? It was a pity that he couldn't get the city lord's position, but there would be plenty of opportunities in the future. Don't worry, although this cultivation pagoda is a sacred place for cultivation, it's not of much use to me. Moreover, I will leave in the future and Iron Mountain City will be yours in the end. Yang Hanwu was very smart. How could Tai Xiaoyao hide his intentions? Tai Xiaoyao. Young master, I didn't mean that. My loyalty to young master can be witnessed by heaven and earth. Tai Xiaoyao was terrified when he heard Yang Hongwu's words and hurriedly explained. Yang Hongwu smiled and said, "It's fine, I won't blame you. You don't have to worry. What I said is the truth. Alright, we don't have much time now. Tai Tulong will be here soon. Once we kill those 2 old guys, we'll go to the city wall." Yang Hanwu could feel that Tai Tulong's aura was getting closer and closer. It wouldn't be long before he arrived at Iron Mountain City. Fortunately, he had erased Tai Tulong's spiritual imprint after obtaining the city lord's seal. Otherwise, Tai Tulong would be able to use the teleportation power of Iron Mountain City to quickly teleport to Iron Mountain City. If that was the case, it would be much more troublesome to deal with Tai Tulong. With that, Yang Hanwu entered the cultivation pagoda. Although there were formations outside the cultivation pagoda, and the formations and restrictions here were much stronger than those in Tai Kang's blessed land. In front of Yan Hanwu, they were still like paper, unable to withstand a single blow, and could be casually used. They were easily broken. Tai Xiaoyao was already used to seeing Yan Hanwu's invincible might. After all, the strength and means that Yan Hanwu had displayed before had long exceeded his imagination. No matter what earth-shattering means Yan Hanwu had, he wouldn't be surprised. It was as if it was only natural that he would be surprised. After entering the cultivation pagoda, Yan Hanwu searched around and found the location of the two old men. The two old men were in the two cultivation rooms at the bottom. The spiritual qi in these two cultivation rooms was the densest and closest to the source of the spirit vein. In addition to the two old men, there were a few other geniuses. Young master, these are the geniuses of Iron Mountain City who have just come up from the lower realm. Their strength isn't much, but their talents are extremely high. Every genius who has just come up from the lower realm is qualified to cultivate in the cultivation pagoda for a year. If they don't make any progress, they will no longer be qualified to enter the cultivation pagoda, Tai Xiaoyao explained. Yan Hongwu's eyes lit up. These people were the new geniuses of Iron Mountain City. For Yan Hanwu, this was a good thing. After all, he had to defeat enough geniuses to obtain the teleportation token to enter the heavenly path. Although Yan Hanwu was now on the lookout for the teleportation token. His main goal was to find the planar arc, but the teleportation token to enter the heavenly path was still to be found. He had to be prepared. Kill them, Yan Hanwu said. Chapter 1903. Do you want to live? Yan Hanwu asked the four new geniuses of Iron Mountain City after waking them up. In fact, Yan Hanwu knew that Tai Xiaoyao didn't want him to kill these people. After all, the new geniuses of a city had a lot to do with the luck of the city. If there were no new geniuses in the city, or if the new geniuses were killed, the city's luck would greatly affect the luck of the city. This would have a huge impact on the fate of this city. If his son Yang Tianjun wanted to stay in this world, Iron Mountain City would be his foundation. Therefore, Yan Hanwu still had to think for his son's sake. If not for this, Yan Hanwu was prepared to kill all of them. Who are you? How dare you talk so big? These people were all geniuses, and each of them was incomparably arrogant. How could they stand Yan Hanwu's presumptuous words? Humph! Yan Hanwu coldly snorted as he struck out with a finger. The Jingxian finger was incomparably tyrannical, and the terrifying aura it exuded was enough to force ghosts and deities to retreat. This was the terrifying aspect of the Jingxian finger. Yan Hongwu's current strength was much stronger than before. Day and night. The Jingxian finger could frighten ghosts and gods with one finger. This wasn't just a saying. Under the overbearing suppression of the Jingxian finger, these people were deterred by this terrifying aura and couldn't move at all. The stone wall not far away was penetrated by this terrifying finger. The few of them took a deep breath. They would definitely not be able to block this finger attack. If Yan Hanwu wanted to kill them, they would definitely die. Who are you? What do you want? One of them took a deep breath and suppressed his fear. After all, in the face of life and death, everyone had to be afraid. Looking at Yan Hanwu, he felt lucky that this person didn't have any killing intent. He should want to submit to him. Although they didn't want to submit, they knew that they had no choice. Submit. Yan Hanwu said, if you don't submit, you die. We agree. Another person said, but you have to let us know who you are. You shouldn't be from the same place as us. Are you a genius from the Heavenspan continent? He could tell that Yan Hanwu was actually not that old. He was about the same age as them. However, Yan Hanwu was much stronger than them. However, they were all peerless geniuses in their original worlds. Naturally, they would not give up so easily. Although they had no choice but to submit now, they could still make a comeback in the future when they grew up. This was what every genius was thinking. Very well. You all leave the cultivation pagoda first. There will be a great battle later. If you stay here, your lives will be in danger. Yang Hanwu said coldly. However, since you have already submitted, then don't have any other thoughts. Take these pills. Yang Hanwu took out the pills that he had given Tai Xiaoyao. As an alchemist, it was easy for Yang Hanwu to refine some special pills. Yang Hanwu's pills were called mysterious life and death pills. They were not ordinary pills. They could control a person's life and death. In fact, they were similar to heavenly Dao contracts and heavenly Dao oaths. Yang Hanwu had added curse power into these pills. Ordinary people would not be able to dispel it. Unless the other party's attainments in alchemy and curse power surpassed his own, they would not be able to dispel it. These pills were suitable for Yang Hanwu to control some people. Some of them were not too important. It would make it easier for Tianjun Yang to control Iron Mountain City in the future. They did not want to take these pills. They could tell at a glance that these pills were not good things. What? You don't want to? Yang Hongwu's eyes flashed coldly. He did not hide his killing intent. If anyone dared to refuse, Yang Hanwu would not be merciful. I, Tai Tianling, will not take it even if I die. One of them shouted angrily. Then you can go to hell. Yang Hanwu flicked and a ray of light instantly pierced through his forehead. A mere early emperor warrior dared to be arrogant. He was simply courting death. Killing him was like stepping on an ant for Yang Hanwu. It was as easy as blowing off dust. Now, Yang Hanwu found that his heart was getting colder and colder. He would not be as merciful as before. He would not give any chance to those who dared to resist him. If they did not submit, then they would die. Tai Xiaoyao was a little shocked. However, to Tai Xiaoyao, only one of them died. It was already very good. Yang Hanwu wanted to kill all of them. Let's take it. The remaining people looked at each other and swallowed pills. They had all seen Tai Tianling's death. This person in front of them really knew how to kill people. If they didn't accept it, they would really die. They were still young. Heavens! Their talent was outstanding. However, if they died now, then there would be nothing left. There was only hope if they were alive. Tai Xiaoyao sighed. However, he had already taken the medicinal pills. How could they, who were just a few newcomers, not eat them? All right, let's go out now. Yan Hanwu said. Yes, master. Although they were unwilling, they walked out of the cultivation tower one by one. After they went out, Yang Hanwu and Tai Xiaoyao went to the cultivation room at the bottom of the tower. Looking at the cultivation room in front of him, Yang Hanwu gathered his spiritual power and punched the stone door. There was a strong seal on the stone door, but Yang Hongwu's punch not only destroyed the seal, but also the stone door. Tai Tsang-yun, who was cultivating in the cultivation room, was suddenly awakened. He spat out a mouthful of blood. He was furious. Damn it, who is it? The attack just now had caused him to suffer a backlash and he was almost seriously injured. How could he not be angry? Yan Hanwu said. Old man, go die. Yan Hanwu said and took out a long saber. It was the Hong Meng battle saber. The saber slashed towards Tai Tsang-yun. The power of the saber was astonishing. Tai Tsang-yun was shocked. Who was this person? He dared to break into the cultivation tower and even dared to attack him. He was too audacious and unforgivable. Little bastard, you are courting death. The furious Tai Tsang-yun took action. He grabbed his weapon, a horsetail whisk. The horsetail whisk was like a raging river, sweeping towards Yang Hanwu. Chapter 1904. Tai Xiaoyao, you've got guts. At this moment, Tai Tsunhai saw that his brother was in danger, and he also saw Tai Xiaoyao. It was clear that Tai Xiaoyao wanted to attack his brother. Tai Tsunhai suddenly punched out, attacking Tai Xiaoyao. Humph, Tai Xiaoyao snorted. If there were 3 people, he might be afraid, but he didn't care about Tai Tsunhai at all. You're not my opponent. Tai Xiaoyao threw a punch, easily blocking Tai Tsunhai's attack. However, on the other side, Tai San was in a miserable state. His strength was not Yang Hongwu's opponent at all, and he was also being suppressed. He was already injured, and under Yang Hongwu's overbearing attack, he had no power to fight back. Yang Hongwu didn't want to waste time. At this time, Tai Tulong was less than 100 li away from Iron Mountain City. This meant that Tai Xiaoyao would soon reach the city. If he delayed any longer, Tai Tulong would have already arrived. Second brother, save me. Tai Tsangyun, who was once again sent flying by Yang Hongwu, was in imminent danger. He knew that he was not Yang Hongwu's opponent. One more attack and he would die without a doubt. So he could only cry for help. Damn it! Stop! After forcing Tai Xiaoyao back with a punch, Tai Tsanhai attacked Yang Hongwu's back. This was Tai Tsanhai's idea. If he tried to block Yang Hongwu's attack, it would be impossible. The only way was to attack Yang Hongwu and make him give up on attacking Tai Tsangyun. It was a good idea, but unfortunately, he didn't know Yang Hongwu at all. The moment Tai Tsanhai attacked him, Yang Hongwu had already sensed it. Young master, be careful. Tai Xiaoyao couldn't stop Tai Tsanhai anymore. So he shouted out a warning. Yang Hongwu snorted and instantly disappeared. In the next moment, Yang Hongwu had smashed Tai Tsangyun's head. At this time, Tai Tsangyun couldn't be more dead. Seeing this scene, Tai Tsanhai was stunned. First, he was frightened, then he became furious. Damn little bastard, you killed my big brother. I'll bury you with him. Tai Tsanhai roared and rushed towards Yang Hongwu. Tai Tsanhai was the second brother of the three and was the strongest. But in fact, he wasn't smart. He was a simple-minded person. Tai had always been Tai Tsangyun and Tai were the ones who used to think. Tsumhei. 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 Yang Hongwu sneered, good timing. Let's kill them together. Originally, Yang Hongwu thought that this guy was going to run away, but he didn't expect that this guy would directly rush over after seeing his brother being killed. This saved Yang Hongwu a lot of trouble, so how could he not be happy? If Tai Tsanhai had run away, he would have wasted some time. But it was a different story. Yang Hongwu snorted. He raised his hands. A flame appeared. Then, the flame turned into a lotus flower. Red lotus of karmic fire. Bloom with a thought. As Yang Hongwu's voice fell, the lotus blossomed and fell on Tai Tsanhai's body in an instant. At this moment, Tai Tsanhai let out a miserable cry. This was the red lotus karmic fire. How terrifying was it? Even a sovereign realm expert couldn't withstand it. Tai Tsanhai was merely a half-step sovereign realm expert. How could he withstand it? Ah! Damn bastard, what kind of flame is this? Die! Tai Tsanhai roared. His whole body seemed to be shrouded in water vapor. He cultivated the Tao of the Blue Sea. His whole body exploded with his strongest power. That was his ultimate treasure, his natal ultimate treasure, the tear of the Blue Sea. This treasure contained boundless seawater. As soon as this treasure appeared, it was able to suppress the power of the karmic fire of the Red Lotus for a short period of time. Yang Hongwu was surprised. There was a treasure that could block the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. This was the first time Yang Hongwu saw such a situation. A good treasure. Unfortunately, it can't stop me. You're too weak. Yang Hongwu condensed his magic power into a giant hand and grabbed at the treasure. You want to take my tear of the Blue Sea? Dream on. At this time, Tai Tsanhai was already regretting it. Although he wasn't very smart, he wasn't a fool. After the life and death crisis just now, he realized that the youth in front of him was definitely not someone he could deal with by himself. Moreover, there was Tai Xiaoyao beside him. Tai Xiaoyao's strength was also very strong, and he was also the city lord of Iron Mountain City. He could mobilize the power of the entire Iron Mountain City. Although Tai Xiaoyao, as the city lord, couldn't fully mobilize the power of the Iron Mountain City's origin, his cultivation base was also at the half-step sovereign realm. He wasn't a match for Yang Hongwu. With Tai Xiaoyao, it was impossible for him to win. Therefore, he could only escape from here and find old ancestor Tai Tulong. Perhaps only Tai Tulong could deal with this young man and Tai Xiaoyao. Xiaoyao. However, the most terrifying danger had arrived. If he couldn't protect his life treasure, the tears of the vast sea, he would probably die. A cold light burst out from Tai Tsunhai's eyes. With a furious roar, he stimulated all the potential in his body. This was a secret technique that stimulated his potential. It was equivalent to burning his lifespan and vitality in order to raise his cultivation in a short period of time. His strength was enough to contend with Yan Hanwu and Tai Xiaoyao. He could escape in the shortest time possible. However, how could Yan Hanwu not see through Tai Tsunhai's thoughts at this moment? Burning your life force to increase your cultivation base. TSK. Good idea. However, it's still futile. Looking at Tai Tsunhai, who was burning his life force crazily, Yan Hanwu smiled. He had to admit that Tai Tsunhai was very strong at this moment. However, no matter how strong he was, it was impossible for him to escape in front of him. Devouring furnace, come out. Yan Hanwu snorted. A huge furnace appeared. This furnace had a terrifying devouring power. This devouring power instantly enveloped the tear of the blue sea. If I can't get it, I'll destroy it. Chapter 1905. You want to give up on the tears of the vast sea and escape? Yan Hanwu laughed. Impossible. I've already sealed the surroundings. The moment Yan Hanwu grabbed the tears of the vast sea, Yan Hanwu threw it into the devouring furnace and laughed as he watched Tai Tsunhai escape. At this moment, Tai Tsunhai came to his senses and realized that he couldn't leave this place. As for sending messages, he had already tried, but it was useless. Damn it, I'm going to die together with you. Tai Tsunhai roared. His life treasure was taken away, so he naturally suffered a great backlash. At this moment, he was already an arrow at the end of its flight. Knowing that he had no chance of survival, he rushed towards Tai Tsunhai. He wanted to self-destruct, so he rushed over with Yan Hanwu and Tai Xiaoyao. Be careful, young master. He's going to self-destruct. Tai Xiaoyao's expression changed greatly. Self-destruction wasn't a good thing. Although he was strong, if Tai Tsunhai self-destructed, he would be seriously injured even if he survived. However, the space here was extremely narrow. Moreover, his path had already been blocked. He had no way of dodging. As for breaking through the walls and leaving this place, he could forget about it. This was the cultivation tower. It was built with special materials. There were extremely powerful restrictions. These restrictions couldn't be broken even by peak sovereigns. Therefore, it was impossible to break the wall. Therefore, at this moment, he could only place his hopes on his master, Yan Hanwu. If Yan Hanwu couldn't do anything, he would be seriously injured at the very least. It might even be life-threatening. The self-destruction of a half-step sovereign expert was extremely terrifying. If you want to self-destruct, you'll have to see if I agree to it. Yan Hanwu snorted coldly. He instantly appeared in front of Tai Tsunhai and punched out. The speed was so fast that Tai Tsunhai didn't even have time to react. The punch landed on his body and directly exploded. His body turned into nothingness and disappeared between heaven and earth. It was impossible for him to self-destruct. So domineering. What terrifying strength. Tai Xiaoyao was shocked once again. One must know that Tai Tsunhai had already burned his life force. His strength was already equivalent to the sovereign realm. Moreover, when he self-destructed, there was a terrifying pressure. Tai Tsunhai couldn't get close to him at all, but Yan Hanwu appeared in front of him in an instant and blew him up with a single punch. It could be seen how ferocious his strength was. Although he looked like a deity emperor, he was actually more terrifying than a sovereign. How could someone who had the confidence to take on Tai Tulong be weak? He clearly knew that the other party's strength was at the late stage of the sovereign realm. If he didn't have enough strength and confidence, wouldn't he be an idiot? Alright, It's fine now. Yang Hanwu waved his hand and said. Thank you, young master. Tai Xiaoyao said, if young master didn't kill that old bastard in time, I would have probably died a graveless death. This gratitude came from the bottom of his heart. If Yang Hanwu hadn't killed Tai Tsunghai before he self-destructed, Tai Xiaoyao definitely wouldn't have been able to withstand it. He would have died or been crippled. There's no need for that. Our greatest enemy is here. Yang Hanwu said, get ready. We're going to the city walls. That old bastard Tai Tulong is already here? Tai Xiaoyao took a deep breath and suppressed the uneasiness in his heart. Tai Tulong was too strong. He was far from being comparable to the three brothers. If Yang Hanwu lost this battle, he would probably die. He would also die miserably. Outside Iron Mountain City, Tai Tulong was furious. He could sense that the souls of the three brothers had been extinguished. This meant that they were completely dead. What did this mean? It meant that Iron Mountain City was under their control. Moreover, his spiritual imprint in the City Lord's seal had been obliterated. This was the greatest humiliation he had ever suffered. Who was this person? Where did he come from? How could he be so bold and terrifying? No one from the nearby cities would dare to scheme against him like this. Even his sworn enemy, Shanhai Guanyue, didn't have the strength to do so. Could the other party be an expert from the Central Continent? However, if the other party was an expert from the Central Continent, why would they be interested in this barren land at the border? Or could it be that the other party knew about the existence of that treasure? Iron Mountain City's iron star ore was very rare and valuable, but it definitely wouldn't attract the attention of the experts from the big cities of the Central Continent. In the Central Continent, which first-class city didn't have countless resources? Any big city would probably have several large ore veins under their control. A small iron star or vein like Iron Mountain City was nothing in their eyes. However, it didn't matter if the other party was an expert from a big city or not. He couldn't let the other party go. So what if they were from a big city? Their strength may not be stronger than him, but they have more experts. However, once he is forced into a dead end, then he will fight with them. At that time, he will have nothing. Is he going to be barefooted? Would he be afraid of wearing shoes? Thinking of this, Tai Tulong's eyes flashed with killing intent. At this time, Yang Hanwu and Tai Xiaoyao were already standing on the city wall. Anya Shenv also came out. Why are you here? Weren't you helping the Lord of Heaven? He looked at Anya Shenv. He has already successfully refined the City Lord's seal and is consolidating his cultivation base now. The Dark Night Goddess looked at Yang Hanwu and said, don't worry, he's your son. Like father, like son. As long as he has enough time, he'll be able to grow up. If he has enough time, he will definitely become an unparalleled expert in this world. Anya Shenv was actually very envious. Pan and I was Yang Hongwu's woman and had given birth to an outstanding son for him. She wasn't Yang Hongwu's woman yet, so she didn't know that Yang Hongwu was such a blockhead. However, how could he not know what she was thinking? Did he want her to take the initiative? She was so stupid. Of course, my son can't be worse than me. Yang Hanwu laughed and was very proud of it. However, Yang Hanwu was also a little worried. If Bai Iran and the others knew that Pan and I had given birth to a son for him, he didn't know what they would think. Especially Yuji, that great demon, had wanted to give birth to a son for him for a long time. Chapter 1906. At this moment, Yang Hanwu caught sight of Tai Tulong's figure from afar. Tai Tulong's speed was really fast. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Chen Quan. When he tried to enter Iron Mountain City, he was blocked by an invisible barrier. This was the formation of Iron Mountain City, the City Protection Formation. If it was before, Tai Tulong could easily enter the formation. But now, he couldn't because the formation had been changed by him. Come. Damn bastard. How dare he change the formation? At this moment, Tai Tulong was infuriated beyond words. This was his city, and yet, he couldn't enter. How sullen was this? Tai Xiaoyao. He raised his head and saw Tai Xiaoyao's figure. This bastard. The incident in Iron Mountain City must have something to do with him. If he had known, he wouldn't have made him the city lord. Moreover, if he had killed him, this wouldn't have happened. So many things had happened. However, it was too late for regrets now. Open the city gates and let me in. Tai Xiaoyao was overjoyed when he saw that Tai Tulong was unable to enter the city despite his loud shouts. Who are you? How dare you speak to the city lord in this manner? The guard at the city gates had an ugly expression when he heard Tai Tulong's words. He said coldly, the city lord has said that there has been a murder in our Iron Mountain City these few days. Therefore, the entire city is sealed. Shut up and no one is allowed to enter. Be ****. I am the old ancestor of Iron Mountain City. Open the city gates and release the formation. Tai Tulong was even more furious when he heard this. These damn guards. How dare they speak to him in this manner? They must be tired of living. How dare you impersonate the old ancestor of our Iron Mountain City? What a be ****. The guard was infuriated. An old man had appeared out of nowhere and claimed to be their old ancestor. This was unforgivable and unforgivable. How could the city lord ignore the words of the old ancestor of Iron Mountain City and not release the formation to let him in? City lord, let me go out and kill that old man. This man dares to impersonate the old ancestor. If we don't kill him, we won't be able to appease everyone's anger. The guard cupped his hands and said to Tai Xiaoyao. Ignore him, Tai Xiaoyao said. Others might not know, but he didn't know that this person wasn't a swindler, he was the old ancestor of Iron Mountain City. However, this old bastard rarely appeared in public, so not many people knew about him. Now, only his own people knew about him. As for the others, they were all dead. In the entire Iron Mountain City, everyone was on his side. Wah wah wah. Tai Tulong was so angry that he was trembling all over. He glared at Tai Xiaoyao and the guard from before. You're betraying your ancestors. Damn you. When I come in, I will let you know the consequences of betraying me. At this moment, Tai Tulong's hair was standing on end. His clothes fluttered even though there was no wind. Humph, you still want to come in? Are you dreaming? Tai Xiaoyao said. Young master, how should we deal with this fellow? If we let him enter the city, I'm afraid there will be a lot of trouble. Tai Xiaoyao was actually very worried. If he let Tai Tulong in, who knew how many traps the old bastard had set up in Iron Mountain City? The consequences would be unimaginable if he were to break in. No matter what, Tai Xiaoyao didn't want to let Tai Tulong in. Yao didn't want Tai Tulong to enter the city. However, this wasn't up to him. Yang Hanwu was the one who could make the decision. After all, no one else could deal with Tai Tulong. Only Yang Hanwu could do it. I'll go out, Yang Hanwu said. No, it's too dangerous. As soon as Yang Hanwu said that, Anya Shenv objected. He's too strong. You didn't set up a formation outside. How can you be his match? Yang Hanwu smiled faintly and said confidently, it's fine. How do you know I didn't set up a formation? If I wasn't confident, I wouldn't go out. So, you don't have to worry at all. Don't worry, I will return safely. That old bastard is definitely going to die. Even though Yang Hanwu said that, Anya Shenv was still worried. She didn't want anything to happen to Yang Hanwu, even if he was injured. I'll go with you. At least I can help you. Anya Shen said. If we're not his match, I'll stop him and you can leave safely. Yang Hanwu was very happy to hear the goddess of the Dark Knight's words. He was touched. The goddess of the Dark Knight's strength was indeed not bad. However, compared to a sovereign expert like Tai Tulong, she was still far from being inferior. If Anya Shen fought Tai Tulong, even if she used all her trump cards, she wouldn't be much of a threat to Tai Tulong. Therefore, Yang Hanwu wouldn't let Anya Shen go with him. Listen to me. I said I'm confident. Don't you believe me? When have I, Yang Hanwu, ever been defeated? When have I ever fought a battle I wasn't confident in? Yang Hanwu said confidently to Anya Shenv. Let's take a step back. Even if I'm an enemy, can't I run? You know how good I am at running away. After hearing Yang Hongwu's promise, Anya Shenv nodded and quieted down. Then you must be careful. Yang Hanwu nodded and leaped off the wall, landing several zhang away from Tai Tulong. Old man, you're not dead yet? Despicable little bastard, who are you exactly? Where did you come from? Tai Tulong glared at Yang Hanwu. Even if this little bastard wasn't the main culprit, he still had something to do with it. It was very likely that this kid was the younger brother of the mastermind. Son, I am who I am. As for where I come from, actually, I'm not far from Iron Mountain City. I'm from Dark Knight City. Yan Hanwu said. Tai Tulong, why don't we make a deal? I heard you know about the planar boat. Dark Knight City? Impossible. You dare lie to me, little bastard? I know how strong Dark Knight City is. If I had the time, I would have destroyed it long ago. Tai Tulong said coldly. You want to lie to me? Impossible. Chapter 1907. You want to kill me? Yang Hanwu laughed. You didn't manage to do it in Myriad Dragon Mountain. You won't be able to do it now. You ran away the last time. I won't give you the chance to escape this time. Little bastard, go to hell. Tai Tulong roared and brought out the dragon-slaying axe in his hand. He swung the axe at Yang Hanwu. The power of the axe was immense. The axe was so huge that it could split heaven and earth. Yang Hanwu snorted coldly. He had to admit that the dragon-slaying axe was a great deterrent to him. Moreover, Tai Tulong was very strong. Yang Hanwu didn't dare to face him head-on. Yang Hanwu wasn't stupid enough to do that. He would do it. Therefore, Yang Hanwu kept retreating and dodging Tai Tulong's crazy attacks. Little bastard, you're really fast. I don't believe that you can keep dodging. Tai Tulong snorted coldly. He was getting faster and faster, and his attacks were getting more and more terrifying. His powerful mental strength covered a radius of 100 zhang. Haha, old bastard, you think too highly of yourself. Although you're a late sovereign, your true fighting strength is far from that. I'm only a divine emperor now, but I can still kill you. What happened just now was just a warm-up. The real battle is coming. Yang Hanwu shouted. In fact, Yang Hanwu had to admit that this old bastard was very strong. He was worthy of being a late sovereign expert. He didn't have to worry about early sovereigns. He could easily kill them. However, it was different for late sovereigns. Even though he had activated the formation, he didn't have 100% confidence that he could kill them. I hope your strength is as good as your mouth. Tai Tulong swung the dragon-slaying axe at Yang Hanwu again. This time, the axe tore through space. In the blink of an eye, it was right in front of Yang Hanwu. The axe was about to hit Yang Hanwu. However, this time, Yang Hanwu didn't move. Yang Hongwu's body was split into two. How is this possible? Young master. Tai Xiaoyao and Anya Shenv, who were on the city wall, were stunned. They could not believe what they were seeing. Yang Hanwu was killed just like that? No, that's impossible. I don't believe it. Anya Shenv yelled. Tai Tulong burst into laughter. Little beast, you want to go against me? You're courting death. Why don't you take a look at your own cultivation? How dare you provoke me with your divine emperor realm cultivation? You overestimate yourself. Tai Xiaoyao, quickly open the city gates and I can spare your life. Otherwise, when I break the formation, you'll be dead. After killing Yang Hanwu, Tai Tulong did not see the person behind Yang Hanwu, which made him a little worried. However, it did not matter. If the person did not come out, it meant that the person was afraid of him. One should know that Yang Hongwu's talent was too strong and outstanding. If there was someone behind him, it would be impossible for the person to let him kill Yang Hongwu. Even Tai Tulong wanted to accept such a genius as his disciple and inherit his legacy. Unfortunately, Yang Hongwu was unwilling to become his disciple. Tai Tulong was very depressed. It was worth it to pay a high price for such a genius. It's too early for you to be happy. At this moment, Yang Hongwu appeared behind Tai Tulong in an instant and slammed his palm on his back. Tai Tulong's reaction was also very fast. He reacted in an instant and his body moved slightly. He shifted his body and threw out a backhand punch. However, he had underestimated Yang Hongwu. This palm was not as simple as it seemed. A ball of flame burst out from his palm. This was the legendary karmic fire of the Red Lotus. The overbearing karmic fire and the power of creation combined. Although Tai Tulong managed to block it, the karmic fire and the power of creation contained in Yang Hongwu's attack entered his body through his fist. Damn it, what kind of flame is this? Tai Tulong's expression changed. He found that this special force was wreaking havoc in his body. He couldn't stop it with his magical power. Soon, he discovered that this force was the legendary karmic fire and the power of creation. The hellfire was easy to explain. It was just the hellfire of the Red Lotus. If one was lucky enough, one could obtain the hellfire of the Red Lotus. Although it was very rare, someone had obtained it before. In the sky-reaching continent, there was a hellfire ancestor. There was a karmic fire ancestor in the sky realm who had obtained the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. Although karmic fire was overbearing, it had to be strong enough. If the opponent wasn't strong enough and the grade of the karmic fire wasn't high enough, it wouldn't pose a fatal threat to a sovereign. However, he wasn't worried about the karmic fire. He could wear it down bit by bit. What shocked him the most was the power of creation. The power of creation was one of the strongest origin forces in the world. The power of creation was even stronger than the primal chaos. If one could become a Tao Lord by comprehending the Tao of creation, it was so difficult to become a Tao Lord because one needed the power of creation to comprehend the Tao of creation. However, how could the power of creation be so easy to comprehend? The power of creation was too mysterious. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to receive it. How could one obtain the power of creation? If one hadn't even come into contact with the power of creation, how difficult would it be to comprehend the power of creation? Because of this, the number of cultivators who could break through the shackles of the sovereign realm and become a Tao Lord was too few. It was because of that strand of power of creation that Tai Tulong was so shocked and worried. On the surface, this kid's cultivation was only at the Divine Emperor realm. However, he had comprehended a strand of the power of creation. Such a person was terrifying. Could he be the reincarnation of a Tao Lord? At the thought of this, Tai Xiaoyao's eyes were filled with joy. If the other party was the reincarnation of a Tao Lord, then if he killed him and seized his fortune, he might be able to break through the bottleneck of the ruler realm and become a Tao Lord. Hope. Those who could comprehend the power of creation were at least half-step Tao Lords. Yang Hongwu was only at the Divine Emperor realm. Even if he was a little stronger, he would only be at the level of an emperor. However, he had a strand of the power of creation. This meant that this kid was definitely not a Tao Lord. The only possibility was that he was the reincarnation of a Tao Lord, or he had obtained the inheritance of a Tao Lord. No matter what, Tai Xiaoyao had to obtain this opportunity. When Yang Hongwu appeared, Tai Xiaoyao and Anya Shenv were overjoyed to see him. Anya Shenv, in particular, was so happy that tears fell from his eyes. Chapter 1908. Although the wisp of karmic fire of the Red Lotus and the power of creation were domineering, they couldn't cause any fatal damage to Tai Tulong. He was too strong. Although Yang Hongwu's palm strike had caused him some trouble, it wasn't a big deal. Before long, Tai Tulong had used his powerful cultivation to forcefully extinguish the wisp of karmic fire of the Red Lotus. However, he didn't extinguish the wisp of power of creation. Instead, he planned to use it to comprehend the karmic fire. Comprehend the power of fortune. Kid, what else do you have? Hurry up and use it. Let me see what other trump cards you have. If that's all you've got, you can go and die. Tai Tulong looked at Yan Hanwu and sneered. Of course, you can choose to reveal your name behind you. I am looking forward to exchanging blows with the expert behind you. Yang Hanwu smiled faintly and said, Old man, you've only cultivated for a longer time. What's there to be proud of? If I'm your age and still in the sovereign realm, I would have killed myself a long time ago. What a sharp tongue. Tai Tulong snorted coldly. He had to admit that this little bastard's cultivation realm wasn't high, but his tongue was very sharp. Old man, take this. Yang Hanwu snorted and his body seemed to turn into nothingness. His speed was so fast that it left people speechless. This time, Yang Hanwu activated the power of the formation. This formation was extremely powerful and connected to the entire Iron Mountain City. Yang Hanwu had used the spirit vein in Iron Mountain City to set up this formation. Of course, the Great Seal of Life and the Fortune of Fortune. The scroll once again acted as the core of the formation. Thus, a large seal spun in Yang Hanwu's hand. This seal was naturally the Great Seal of Life. As soon as the Great Seal of Life appeared, a terrifying aura erupted. Tai Tulong's expression changed slightly when he saw the seal slowly rising from Yang Hanwu's palm to the top of his head. He could tell that this seal was definitely not simple. It contained a vast amount of power. If this power were to be completely unleashed, even with his late-stage sovereign cultivation, he might not be able to withstand it. From this, one could tell that this was the Great Life Seal. How powerful and terrifying was the Great Seal of Life! What a great treasure! The greedy look in Tai Tulong's eyes never left the moment the Life Seal appeared. The Great Seal of Life was too attractive to him. Little bastard, you've stolen my moral altar. This Great Seal of Life seems to be related to it. If you give me the moral altar and the Great Seal of Life, I'll forgive you for what you've done, Tai's Great Seal of Life. He said casually. He had to admit that this Great Seal of Life was too tempting to him. Although the Great Seal of Life wasn't truly complete, and there were still fragments that he didn't know where they were, this Great Seal of Life was extremely powerful. The inner world of the Great Seal of Life, the Great Seal of Life, was already Yang Hanwu's inner world. It was growing stronger and stronger. Although it wasn't as strong as the Divine Domain or the Tongtian continent, it was still growing. In addition, Yang Hanwu had already placed the Divine Tree of Fortune and the Ancient Longevity Tree into the Great Seal of Life. The Great Seal of Life could be said to be growing at a rapid pace. Moreover, after Yang Hanwu placed the Moral Altar and the Fire Attribute World Seed inside, the Great Seal of Life had grown even faster. Yang Hanwu was the master of the Great Seal of Life. The stronger the Great Seal of Life was, the stronger his strength would be. Moreover, this had nothing to do with his cultivation realm. It was precisely because of the strength of the Great Seal of Life that Yang Hanwu was able to fight against a late sovereign realm expert like Tai Tulong at the peak of the Divine Emperor realm. Otherwise, no matter how powerful Yang Hanwu's formation was, no matter how powerful it wouldn't be able to defeat Tai Tulong. Tai Tulong's opponent wasn't strong enough. Old bastard, take my move, Strike of Life. Yang Hanwu roared. The Great Seal of Life above his head suddenly shone brightly, growing bigger and bigger as it flew towards Tai Tulong. In an instant, the Great Seal of Life had become as big as a mountain. Majestic power was continuously extracted from the Great Seal of Life. Although Yang Hanwu hadn't used his full strength in this attack, he had still used half of the Great Seal of Life's power. Dragon Slaying Axe, Dragon Slaying the World. When Tai Tulong saw the Great Seal of Life erupting with such terrifying power, he felt the threat of death. He didn't dare to be careless. His face was very serious as he held the dragon-slaying axe with both hands and roared. He poured all his power into the dragon-slaying axe. He raised the dragon-slaying axe high up. In an instant, the axe turned into a giant axe. With an indomitable aura, it slashed towards the Great Seal of Life. The giant axe and the Great Seal of Life clashed together in an instant. In an instant, a terrifying power erupted. The moment this terrifying power exploded, a huge impact destroyed everything in the surroundings, turning it into nothingness. The ground was blasted apart. A hole of dozens of feet was created. The entire Iron Mountain city shook violently. Under the impact of this terrifying power, cracks appeared on the Great Seal of Iron Mountain City. Kacha kacha. The Iron Mountain City's great protective array finally shattered under the impact of this terrifying power. Everyone on the city wall was horrified to the extreme. What a terrifying power! What a powerful attack! Retreat! Everyone, retreat quickly! The Great Seal of Iron Mountain City has been destroyed. If we continue to stay here, we will be affected by their power. An elder shouted. Those who were weaker couldn't withstand this terrifying aura at all. One by one, they spat out blood. The person who was closest to Yang Hanwu and Tai Tulong was already dead. One could see how terrifying the battle between the two was. After hearing the elder's words, the people who were still on the city walls fled frantically. They wished that they could grow an extra pair of legs. Too strong. Tai Tulong's cultivation is terrifying. Fortunately, young master is strong. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to stop him. Tai Xiaoyao took a deep breath. Although he knew that Tai Tulong's strength was terrifying, he didn't expect it at all. He didn't expect that Tai Tulong's strength would be so terrifying. It was far beyond his expectations. Even when he was the city lord and borrowed the power of the entire Iron Mountain City, he still wasn't a match for Tai Tulong. At this moment, he was very glad. If he really went up against Tai Tulong, he would be dead for sure. Chapter 1909. Yang Tianjun, who had just made his appearance, threw out a punch that knocked Tai Tulong back. Yang Hanwu looked at Yang Tianjun, feeling both happy and reproachful. He was happy because Yang Tianjun had completely refined the seal of Iron Mountain City, and his cultivation had broken through to the first level of the sovereign realm. Yang Hanwu had not expected this at all. He thought that it would be good enough if Yang Tianjun could recover his cultivation. He did not expect Yang Tianjun to break through to the first layer of the sovereign realm. However, breaking through too quickly was not a good thing. If one's foundation was not stable, it would be harmful to one's cultivation in the future. It could easily lead to inner demons. Under such circumstances, ordinary people would suppress their cultivation and not let their cultivation break through too quickly. That way, their foundation would be more stable and firm, and it would not cause any harm to their future cultivation. Father! Why are you here? Yang Hanwu asked. Do you know that it's very dangerous here? You have just recovered and your cultivation has risen too quickly. If your cultivation is unstable, it won't be good for your future cultivation. Father, don't worry. I know that. Right now, our biggest threat is Tai Tulong, isn't it? Let's practice and kill this old man first. Yang Tianjun stared at Tai Tulong and said. That axe is very important. If I can get my hands on it, I will be able to unleash the three forms of split the heavens to the fullest. Yang Hanwu did not expect his son to be eyeing the dragon-slaying axe. It seemed that the main cultivation technique that Yang Tianjun cultivated was the Panga clan's cultivation technique that Pan and I had given him. The Panga clan's cultivation technique was very powerful. Yang Hanwu had to admit that. If Pangu's cultivation technique was cultivated to the fullest, its power could be imagined. Back then, Pangu's strength was not very strong, but he was able to create the Eldritch world. This showed how powerful the Panga clan's cultivation technique was. Thinking about it this way, it was normal for him to set his eyes on the dragon-slaying axe. It was precisely because he wanted to obtain the dragon-slaying axe that he was so aggressive and directly raised his cultivation level to the sovereign realm. In addition, he had already refined the City Lord's seal and could mobilize the power of the Iron Mountain City. Thus, his strength was extraordinary and could rival a mid-stage sovereign realm expert. Only then were they qualified to participate in this battle. If he hadn't reached the sovereign realm, even if he could mobilize the power of Iron Mountain City, he wouldn't have been able to participate in such a battle. After all, he was too weak. Alright, if that's the case, then today we, father and son, will fight side by side. We'll kill this old thing and help you seize the dragon-slaying axe. When Yang Hanwu saw the look in Yang Tianjun's eyes, he knew that even if he didn't agree, Yang Tianjun wouldn't back down. Receiving Yang Hongwu's permission, Yang Tianjun was overjoyed. Don't worry, father. I won't hold you back, Yang Tianjun said. Damn it, you're the one who refined the City Lord's seal of Iron Mountain City. You have the aura of the Chaos Star Flower on you. You deserve to die. Tai Tulong was furious. He hadn't expected Yang Tianjun to have the Chaos Star physique. Tai Tulong had known about it back then. Tai Meng had captured Yang Tianjun and stripped him of his bloodline power, turning him into a cripple. Moreover, he didn't have the Chaos Star physique in the first place. It was obvious that he had used the Chaos Star Flower to create the Chaos Star physique. Back then, the Chaos Star Flower hadn't fully matured. In order to hasten the maturity of the Chaos Star Flower, a huge price had to be paid. It was probably the resources of Iron Mountain City that he had accumulated over many years. This made him furious. Tai Tulong, if you hand over the dragon-slaying axe in your hand, kneel down and beg for mercy. If you acknowledge me as your master, I can spare your life. Yang Tianjun's words caused Tai Tulong to explode. A mere first-stage sovereign realm expert with the help of iron? Someone who had broken through to the origin of Mountain City actually dared to be so arrogant and actually wanted him to be a slave. Hateful, hateful. You're courting death. Tai Tulong's eyes flashed with a cold light. A terrifying murderous intent burst out from his body. Then, he charged towards Yang Tianjun, raising the dragon-slaying axe in his hand. A domineering aura burst out and enveloped Yang Hong, Marshall and Yang Tianjun, but the dragon-slaying axe's target was Yang Tianjun. Yang Tianjun's words just now made him determine that he had to kill Yang Tianjun first. Although Yang Tianjun's cultivation was higher than Yang Hongwu's, at the early sovereign realm, and he had the support of Iron Mountain City, his battle strength was weaker than Yang Hongwu's. Moreover, he had just broken through, and his cultivation base hadn't stabilized yet. Once it stabilized, he wouldn't be able to unleash his strongest battle strength without fully adapting to the sovereign realm. Once the battle started, there would be a huge opening. Be careful. Yang Hanwu saw that Tai Tulong's dragon-slaying axe had locked onto Yang Tianjun. Without any hesitation, he took out the life seal and attacked the dragon-slaying axe. If it was a complete life seal, it would definitely be stronger than the dragon-slaying axe. However, the life seal wasn't complete, so it was comparable to the dragon-slaying axe. Humph. Yang Tianjun snorted and took out his weapon as well. It was also a supreme treasure, the mountain-splitting axe. However, there was still a huge gap between it and Tai Tulong's dragon-slaying axe. Split the heavens. Yang Tianjun roared, and the mountain-splitting axe in his hand slashed forward. He didn't try to dodge, he wanted to meet force with force. The split the heavens was extremely powerful, and the most important thing about it was that it was indomitable. Even if it meant death, one couldn't retreat. It was the same when Pan Gu split the heavens. Even if he knew that it would cause him great harm, he wouldn't retreat. Boom! With a loud bang, the two giant axes in the seal clashed. Tai Tulong had the upper hand, but Yang Hanwu wasn't weak either. He had the support of the formation and the supreme treasure, the life seal. Although the life seal wasn't as powerful as the dragon-slaying axe, it had a huge advantage. It could mobilize the power of the common people great world. The moment the three supreme treasures clashed, a terrifying shockwave erupted. The ground, which had already been destroyed by the battle between Yang Hanwu and Tai Tulong, was once again destroyed. This time, Tai Tulong was sent flying. Yang Hanwu and Yang Tianjun had the upper hand. After all, Yang Hongwu's strength was on par with Tai Tulong's. Even if he had the upper hand, it wouldn't be much weaker, not to mention Yang Tianjun's attack. Moreover, Yang Tianjun's attack wasn't weak either. Therefore, Tai Tulong was sent flying. Pfft! Tai Tulong spat out a mouthful of blood and stared at Yan Hanwu. Very good, very good. You have successfully angered me. You're tuning into the Mythic Realms YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.